Chris Avalon Unfiltered, bitch.
Hey yo, welcome to Happy Sunday. It's your boy Chris Avalon, and welcome to a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered, a show where we basically talk about all things going on in celebrity news, pop culture, hot topics, and even we might throw a little politics up in the situation. So if that's a show for you, definitely stick around because we have a lot of tea to spill today, including Zach Cregger's opening up about his Resident Evil reboot that he's working on. I want to get into this Alison Brie situation. We talked a little bit about it the other day, but I decided I'm going to turn it into a segment because I got more information. So basically, we're talking about the current era of the Scream films because she was in Scream Force. We'll get into that. James Gunn is denying that Robin's going to appear in the Batman Part 2. So he's addressing that. Fat Joe is blaming the removal of the BET Hip Hop Awards and the Soul Train Awards on gentrification. Tina Knowles, of course, is out here windmilling hard for Beyonce. Jennifer Lopez was denied entry into a Chanel store, and Bethany Frankel even jumped on the line and decided to give her experience of being denied entry into Chanel. So we'll get into that. We got to talk about Andrew Cuomo's Clueless behind out here trying to shame Zohran from Mamdani for living in a rent-stabilized apartment. We're going to get into that. Word on the curb is Alicia Keys and Swizz Beatz might be filing for divorce if you believe some of the rumors that's going on. We'll break that down. Paris Hilton, speaking of marriages on the rocks, but her marriage to Reum might be on the rocks. We'll get into that. Dave Justice, who once upon a time was married to Halle Berry, is opening up about his relationship with her, saying, given the real reason why he divorced her back in the 90s. Kim Coles from Living Single is reflecting on the pressure that was put on her to lose weight while she was on the show. I have that clip. Grindr's launched a brand new hub for unapologetic, uncensored queer content. Billy Porter done got himself a new man. We're going to get into that. And we have to talk about the loss of Jasmine Jimenez International. She passed away at the age of 46. A lot of the queens from Drag Race and so many others have given their condolences. I didn't know her specifically, but I have seen her out in a lot of the clubs that I used to go to back in the day of New York. Crash, Splash, Esquelita, a bunch of those. So we'll get into that story and a whole lot more. But before we get to those topics, if you could please do me a solid, hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. And also be sure to smash the notification bell. So that way you know when we go live with a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered. I will also be putting in timestamps at the end of the live stream. So those who follow the show or want to watch the playback could just go to the topics in the description instead of having to sit through all the banter that we do during the live stream. Please and thank you. And I love and appreciate all y'all that come into the live stream and kiki with me for about as long as we do the show. Sometimes, well, I don't think I've ever done a 2 hour show. I think we've always gone 3 hours or more, but I've never done a 2 hour show unless it's like 3 topics. But yeah, for the most part, with us kikiing in here and all the commentary and all the other stuff going on, this has never been a show that has floundered under 2 hours, because we always engage in and stuff with each other. But anyway, so without further ado, let me hit my banner and let's get into topic number 1. So Zach Cregger has reason to celebrate because his movie that's out this weekend, Weapons, is slated to bring in a bit over $40 million at the box office, which is good for a film of that caliber. I don't know what the budget on the film is, but I'm sure it wasn't a lot of money spent on him making Weapons, but it is a really good movie. A lot of people are responding positively to it. I'm sure there's people out there who don't like it. I mean, with all art, it's subjective. There's things people are going to like generally, and there's going to be things that people don't like. But nevertheless, the film is doing well. People are responding to it, and he is like the director to watch in Hollywood since, of course, Barbarian and now Weapons. So with that being said, now he is speaking out about his upcoming reboot to Resident Evil, which I am a huge fan of the games. I didn't mind the Mila Jovovich movies. I know a lot of people find them polarizing, whatever, but I have fun with them. They're like stupid, mindless, campy fun. And I enjoy watching, I enjoy them for what they are. But if we're going to get, and then they had the Welcome to Raccoon City. That one was okay. I did like some of the homage they played to the games, but the movie, in my opinion, was just not that good. But with Zach Cregger being on board with this whole situation, I'm hoping and praying that we're actually going to get a really good Resident Evil that's close to the games. And he's saying it's going to be a love letter. So according to Variety, they was like, although he wants to have an original plot, The weapons director told Inverse that he's not breaking the rules of the games. He said, I'm the biggest worshiper of the game, so I'm telling a story that is a love letter to the games that follows the rules of the games. Cregger will direct the movie based on the hugely popular horror video game franchise. He has written the script alongside his co-writer Shay Hatton. Shay Hatton also wrote Ballerina. He's also been a co-writer on other films such as like the John Wick films and a bunch of other things. So Shay Hatton is like solid. Now they said Constantine Film is producing and co-financing the film. Constantine's Robert Kolzer, Vertigo Entertainment's Roy Lee, and Miri Yoon in PlayStation Productions are also producing. Now Cregger is set on creating a project that is outside of the characters of the games, but he reassured fans that the game's roots will be respected, saying it is obedient to the lore of the games. It's just a different story. I'm not going to tell Leon's story because Leon's story is told in the games. Fans already have that. The original Resident Evil, as you know, was released in '94 as a PlayStation game before being ported to other platforms. In 2002, the first Resident Evil film premiered in theaters with Milla Jovovich and Michelle Rodriguez as the leads. Jovovich went on to lead the following Resident Evil Apocalypse, Resident Evil Extinction, Resident Evil Afterlife, Resident Evil Retribution, and Resident Evil The Final Chapter. In 2021, filmmaker Johannes Roberts took on the franchise reboot Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City as the writer and director. Now, ahead of the August 8th release of Weapons, Cregger told Variety he hopes to capture the cinematic experience of Resident Evil and says, those games pioneered something special. The pacing of those games is so unique and effective. And just being locked in with one character moving from point A to point B, knowing you're going to pass through this gauntlet of terror and you got to be methodical, as I said. I thought I said the word methodical. And thoughtful about it. That's cool. That's cinematic. So I want to tell the story in the world of the games that honors the lore of the game. So it's a new story. So he's going to tell the story, a new story based on some of the characters that we're going to get from the franchise. If someone's able to capture that essence and that tone, I believe it is him, especially if you've seen movies like Barbarian and most recently Weapons. He definitely knows how to capture that dark tone of the games. But just watching people walk around, we don't need Inner Violent Nature in video game form, because that got a little, as much as I like that concept of Inner Violent Nature, I did find that movie to be a little bit tedious at times. Although I will say this, I was on Shudder yesterday because I was watching other films. I happened to get caught up in Ginger Snaps, which actually is a really good movie that came out back in the day about this girl who becomes a werewolf. And it was about periods and all that other stuff. But anyway, so I happened to watch, and then I came across Inner Violent Nature. It was on, and I was like, let me just sit and watch a little bit of this movie. So I got caught up in that. But I like the idea behind it. But yeah, watching people walk around trying to, waiting for things to happen, that works in a video game. It's not going to work in a movie. So I definitely trust to see like where he's going to go with that. I'm glad that he's not going to focus on Leon, because it's like, yeah, while Leon hasn't really gotten his just due, in my opinion, in the movies, we don't need his story being told. If they can find a way to tell interesting stories and keep it within the confines and the lore of the give us that vibe of the games and the energy and everything, then I'm here for it. So I'm not that mad about it. I'm just looking forward to seeing who's going to be cast as who, and that's all I'm worrying about. And once they start shooting, when I see a trailer, then I'll give my full opinion. But anyway, so I want to hear from you guys. What do you think of this story and what Zach Cregger had to say about his upcoming Resident Evil reboot? That it's going to be a love letter to the games, and I'm sure the fans will love the games, but it's going to be a completely different story. I don't want to sit and tell the same story you guys are aware of. And I feel like if you can take the idea of what Resident Evil is about and come up with a really good, compelling story, and we know that Zach Cregger is great at telling stories, because one of the things I loved about Weapons was the fact that it was this well put together story where we're getting the point of view of all these different characters. And I wonder if he's going to actually take that and just like have different characters, like take that idea of what he did with Weapons. And so it's like, for example, Jill Valentine, we're following her and she's telling her story of what's going on. And then we have a Chris Redfield and a Claire Redfield and an Ada Wong, and we have all these other characters, or Leon. They decided to put him up in there. And then at the end, they all come together and it just goes completely bat-ish crazy. If he takes that kind of tone that he does with Weapons, then I think that this would be an interesting way of trying to take on the franchise that I think maybe the fans will be here for. And we know he's really good at telling stories. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he, story-wise, where he's going to take the Resident Evil franchise. I mean, it can't be as bad as what we've already gotten on the big screen for the past 2 decades. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Right, so let's see what the people are saying. Robert's in the building, said, "Happy Sunday, family. I'm dying at this MAGA Civil War, especially because it's veterans being called grifters." When Nick Fuentes said, "You're only doing because..." First of all, Nick Fuentes is an idiot and a neo-Nazi. Weapons is at 70 million as we speak. Freaky Fridays at 42 million. Both films open crossing their budget. Both will be successful, but Sony just released last summer for Really? Damn, that was quick. I didn't even know that it came out already. I'm like, well, I know what you, well, look, I guess it'll still be, even though kind of feel bad that what happened with I Know What You Did Last Summer, but to be honest, I Know What You Did Last Summer was never like an IP that was like on the same level as like a Scream or whatever. It had a cult following. So if they decided that maybe they should have just thought about releasing I Know What You Did Last Summer on Hulu or something. Like maybe it should have went straight to streaming. I don't think that people cared enough to go to more. Even though it did what it did, it did relatively well. It didn't break the box office, but it did okay. And I think also having it come out in the summer hurt it. Yeah, we know summer is in the title, but that doesn't mean you have to release it in the summer, especially because summer usually means big blockbuster movie. Nobody's trying to go to the movies and see a horror film. The reason why Weapons works is because it came out in August towards the tail end of the summer. So summer is winding down. The big blockbusters, we've pretty much all got them out of the way. So this is like we're at the final round of, the big situation. So I remember it came out because I was like looking online. I didn't see it. Maybe they must have did that today. Onyx is in the building. Hello, hello, hello. I said, you'll be lucky by Thursday to make 65 million, which is nice considering had a lot of haters wanting it to bomb, but it didn't. And I saw that Nicolas Chavez was out here talking. I didn't bring that story up, but he was talking about like, you know what, things happen about him being cut. Him and the other girl got cut from I Know What You Did Last Summer. He was like, you know what, sometimes things happen, and who knows, maybe what'll happen is if there is a sequel to I Know What You Did Last Summer that will get him in it, and maybe he'll get another role. So just because, I mean, we know he's supposed to be in the other film, but if his scenes are on the cutting room floor, you could still use him for, in another situation. Do you think Slasher's era is over since out of all the horror films that it's the only one underperforming? Um, Were there a lot of slasher movies that came out? I don't think so. I don't think that it's the slasher era is over. I just think at the end of the day, if you can come up with a really good story around slashers, um, fans will come and see it. I mean, I don't think Clown in a Cornfield did bad. That's on Shudder right now. People are liking that. I Know the Last Summer just came out at the wrong time. Time will tell when Scream comes out. I mean, I think with Scream 7, that's already got a built-in audience, so that's automatically going to make bank. We have a sequel. I mean, we have a reboot of Urban Legend coming out. So if that underperforms and a bunch of others underperform, then we'll know like the fans aren't. I mean, the big things aren't there for it. But people have to realize like horror was never like this. Oh, it plays on the same playing field as like action and all that other stuff. Like it's not. It's its own thing. Slasher horror always has its loyal audience. It'll have like the people who come out and will always support those films regardless. So I don't think the era is over. But speaking of slashers, let's get into Alison Brie, who recently did an interview with who was it? I had it in here. Yeah, she went on a podcast with her husband, Dave Franco, because they were promoting the movie together, which I'm hearing great things about. They went on this podcast called the Shut Up Evan podcast, and was basically talking about Scream and, because she played Sydney's doomed publicist, Rebecca Walters. And she basically pitched her character's return for Scream 7 after several familiar faces were announced to be back from the dead. And she said, Alison was famously in Scream 4. I feel like with the new Scream rules, I was like, let me put that picture in. With the new Scream rules, even though she dies brutally, we could bring her back. Her husband, Dave Franco, noted on the Shut Up Evan podcast, in which she agreed, yeah, where's my role in Scream 7? Now, here's the thing. I don't think she realizes because of what the exact plot is, but because we heard stories about David Arquette, Matthew Lillard, Scott Foley, and so many others that's supposed to be coming back, which to me, I'm still kind of irritated that they decided, oh, we're going to just let everybody know all the people who's supposed to be dead is supposed to be coming back because they know about the whole is Stu alive, Stu is dead debate on social media conglomerates like Reddit or whatever. They already know that, oh, we got to shake the tree and wake everybody up because of the whole thing that's going on with Melissa Barrera. So to me, it just seems like they're so desperate over there to come up with something as a distraction because they know in regards of all the heat they're getting online from them prematurely firing Melissa Barrera because she was talking about free Palestine. So the Zionists over there at Spyglass is all upset and they want to sit up here and now try to save face. But, oh, look, we're bringing all these people back. But a lot of people think that the only reason why they're coming back is that they're not actually coming back as like, for real. Like they're not faking their death and was in hiding, that it's some sort of an AI plot to stalk Sidney Prescott. So a lot of people think that that's what the story is going to be about with the new movie. We don't necessarily know what it is until it comes out, but that's always been the speculation for a while though. But I do have this clip that I did play previously when we were doing it like in a passing conversation. But I was like, let me just make this a topic today. And we'll come and we'll play this clip and then we'll come back and talk. Please hold. Wait, sorry, it's muted. Hold on, I gotta go back.
Alison was famously in Scream 4.
Yes, it's true. 2 girls butchered. Payday.
I feel like with new Scream rules, even though she died brutally, we could bring her back.
Yeah, where's my role in Scream 7?
I would love that.
Can I tell you my problem with the current era of the Scream franchise? Too many people live. The core 4 needs to die.
I agree. Also, just by horror rules.
They did kill Dewey.
That was a mistake. Keep the main 3.
Yeah, core
Main
4,
3.
no. Main 3, yes.
And of course, she's saying that because, you know, she was in Scream 4 and, you know, she has a loyalty to that franchise because she got to work with Wes Craven and that sort of thing. But yeah, when they come in with the whole Scream, you know, the core 4 situation, it's sort of like, in my opinion, they pushed the legacy characters to the wayside because they wanted to make room for their characters. But it's like, yeah, if you're going to have these group of kids, you do have to have a lot more kills. I'm trying to think. I don't think they had that many kills in Scream 7. I don't think they had that many kills in Scream 6. So it's like, yeah. And I know a lot of people there was some people complaining online, oh, they have too many in the cast and it's too many actors that they putting in this movie. I'm like, first of all, if that gives us, if you're putting all these actors in this movie and you're guaranteeing us a high body count, I'm with it. Because I want to see Ghostface going in and letting having gutting up Tatum, because that's allegedly Sydney's daughter's name. If y'all gonna gut up the kid, which didn't they say she had 2 kids? Because I could have sworn it was 2 kids in that stroller in Scream 5 when she was pushing. I don't think it was just one. But so with, you know, that whole situation, I'm hoping that they give us a lot more body count because I do feel like we were deprived of some actual big body counts with the last 2 movies. And yeah, Randy Meek said it best in part 2. It's like the sequels basically mean more gore, you know, more money you put in the franchise, more gore, carnage, candy. So that's basically where we should be with this whole thing. So I'm just hoping that, and I'm sorry, Alison, but your character was not that important where you're going to get to come back. And I like you, but no, your character was sort of like just, she was meant to die in the movie. So she's not coming back. Just like when we talk about Sarah Michelle Gellar and Parker Posey, who I love Parker Posey's character in Scream 3, but no, y'all dead. Roman killed you. So that's where we're going to keep that. But yeah, thinking about the whole thing with the core 4, Sam Carpenter, Tara Carpenter, Chad Meeks Martin, and Mindy. First of all, Chad and Mindy are coming back. We'll see if they survive once we get to see the movie. Tara done moved on. That's Jenna Ortega. Sam Carpenter, you already know what happened to her. I'm actually got my fingers crossed that she's actually gonna be in a Scary Movie, because that's the rumor that's going around, that they're gonna put her in the new Scary Movie that's being done by the Wayans. I'm actually hoping that that's what's gonna happen, because I'll be looking forward to that. But this next movie that we're getting, Scream 7, that's supposed to come out February 27, 2026. Courtney Cox, David Arquette, who they already spoiled. Who was it? Oh, they said, Alex. Scott Foley, Matthew Lillard, Jasmine Savoy Brown, as I said, Mason Gooding, as well as Isabel May, Celeste O'Connor, Asa Gurman, McKenna Grace, Sam Reckner, Michelle Randolph, Jimmy Tatro, Anna Camp, Joe McHale, Mark Consuelos, and Ethan Embry are all in these movies. And speaking of Alison Brie, she is about to do her, direct her first film with a female-driven horror film she co-wrote with Allison Stanley. So she busy. And I definitely want to hear from y'all. What do you guys think of this story? Would you like to see Alison Brie in a new Scream movie? Or is it just that, look, they haven't really said what the plot is about, but a lot of people feel like the only reason why they bring in certain characters back from the dead, because it's some AI ploy to pretty much have Sydney go nuts, or whatever the case is. So by taunting her with the people who she killed in the past, all the people that try to take her out throughout the whole Scream franchise. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Robert, can you imagine one of the ghost faces? That'd be the worst, because I'm like, not you trying to kill your own mama. I mean, there's been rumors going around that McKenna Grace is one of the killers. But look, I don't like the idea of these certain people out here trying to spoil things. I want to actually go in, as I've always said, I always want to go in completely blind, not knowing anything or seeing a lot of stuff regarding the film or any spoilers. It's the same thing I did with Weapons. I only knew what I was seeing in the trailer. I didn't know what the story was about. I didn't want to know. I was like, the less I know, the better. And I had a great time just going on this journey. And that's what I want to do with the new Scream movie. I always want to go. That's why I go open the weekend, because I avoid all the social medias. I avoid all the TikToks and the Twitters and the Reddits and all that other stuff, because I want to go in completely blind, and I don't want to know who the killer is and all that other stuff. I want to go on the journey and figure it out on my own. Or if I just be like blindly just watching it and not really trying to play Scooby-Doo, then I want to be surprised when it comes down. So that's what I enjoy about the Scream movies. They said Gail Weathers telling Alison character, I will revitalize your face with my tarnished brand. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but you were trying to re-hug. What you're not going to do is try to come for the veterans. So it's odd to see Dave Franco without his brother. It's weird, but yeah, this is cancel culture. Look, first of all, James is an asshole. Like, there were some people that I worked with at AMC that he actually got fired because they asked him for his autograph or something. That's why I don't like him. And then there was a situation that he did at a book signing that was just deplorable. So I wound up writing a whole article about it, because I had gotten some inside teeth from a very reliable source who provided me with pictures and everything. I posted on my website back in the day. Child, let me tell you, when that whole thing went viral, it was what it was. But that was like, that's why I never particularly cared for him. So the self-serving, the pompousness of him and all the other stuff, I'm glad people finally saw through the BS with him. But yeah, James was always trash. Dave was always the better, the bigger talent and better talent. All right, so now let's move on to our next topic, and let's talk about James Gunn yet again in the news, because he's debunking rumors surrounding this new Batman Part 2 film that's coming out. So there's been rumors floating around. I've noticed a couple of the pundits have already been talking about it, that Robin is supposed to appear in the Batman Part 2, which, to be honest, I'm not here for, because I feel what we've already been led to believe is that based off of The Brave and the Bold, that is where we're supposed to get Robin. I don't think that, look, I would love to see Robin on the big screen. We haven't seen Robin in a damn movie since this situation. Chris O'Donnell, fine ass back in the day. Like, you never seen that meme where it goes around where it's like, this was my gay awakening? Chris O'Donnell was my gay awakening back in the day. So, that outfit and them bat nipples and the Robin nipples. But anyway, so That was the last time we actually got a live action Robin. I'm not talking about all the other little TV shows and all other stuff. I'm talking about like on the big screen. So and then there was an allusion. It was alluded to that Robin was going to be in the dark. Well, was in the Dark Knight Rises with Joseph Gordon-Levitt, which we already know. Like they made it like his name was Robin. I'm like, because Robin was not his name. But since that's what y'all want to go with, and this is the game we playing, okay, we'll go along with the ride, Christopher Nolan. So Joseph, so I believe that they were trying to lead it up to, or maybe that was just the way they were going to end it, that Robin was going to be the one that took over after Bruce done left and retired in another world with, or, in another, on some island or whatever. Where was he, in Italy? With Catwoman and all this stuff. So he gave up being Batman and went to go live happily ever after with Selena Kyle, played by, our girl from, Anne Hathaway. I almost forgot her damn name. I actually liked her as Catwoman, but she's not my favorite Catwoman. My favorite Catwoman will always be Michelle Pfeiffer. And she was good, and so was Zoe Kravitz. But Michelle Pfeiffer will always be my Catwoman. But anyway, so yeah. So with that being said, this is the last time we had a Robin on the big screen. We haven't had him in a while. I know some people would love to see him. I would love to see him, but not in the Batman Part 2. Because first of all, I feel like we need more of Robert Pattinson to do his thing. And maybe down the road they could bring him in. But if you want to bring in Robin, I say bring him in The Brave and the Bold. So of course, with this situation, with that being said, James Gunn decided to get up on the threads and debunk the rumor. He said, guys, please stop believing this nonsense. I think 6 of us have read the script. Last time he said it was 4. Now it's 6. No one knows anything about the Batman 2, except the 6 he just talked about. He said, anything you've heard about the movie is made up or a guess. This is what he wrote in the previous post. No one in the world knows anything about the concept for the story except 4 people. So yeah, before it was 4, now it's 6. So it's like the number keeps changing. So, now they said, yeah, now premiering last month in theaters, Gunn's Superman launched a new DCU with the Gods and Monsters phase, separate from Reeves' Batman epic crime saga, which includes the Batman from 2022 and last year's HBO Max series spinoff, The Penguin, which we have heard they mention. I think, oh my God, what the hell's his name? The one that's running. Why have I got David Zaslav on the mind? That's Marvel. The higher up over at oh no, David Zaslav is HBO. I mean, is Warner Brothers. What am I talking about? I'm thinking, I don't know why I'm thinking Bob Iger. That's what I was thinking. So yeah, David Zaslav basically went off and said that there is a season 2 of The Penguin in the works, which I'm looking forward to. Who knows when that's going to come, but he says it's coming, or it's in the plan. And the Batman Part 2 is supposed to be coming out in October 2027, the first, following a postponement of a year. And so what I've been hearing is that, yeah, the script is really good, that it's worth the wait. I'm actually looking forward to this movie when it comes out, even though I'm mad that we got to wait 2 damn years for it to finally hit theaters. But yeah, but he's debunking the rumors. Now I just feel like, I know I had somebody in my comments pretty much say, well, he's just trying to let the fans know what's what and stuff. And I don't mind you letting the fans know like what's coming and what's in the works and this other stuff. But it just seems like every little thing that somebody says, he tries to get ahead of it and just tries to throw a wrench in this. Stop believing what you heard. This is this, this is this. It's like every 2 seconds you're on social media always trying to debunk something. And I feel like you're doing too much. So we do want to be informed about things if it's something worth being informed by, but it just feels like a lot of times when James Gunn gets on social media, and I like James Gunn, I'm a fan of his work and all the other stuff, but it just feels like it's just a bunch of damn word salad. So we'll know who's in what when this trailer comes out, probably in like May or June of 2027. But in the meantime, he says there is no Robin in the film. I believe him, because I honestly feel that we don't need the Robin in the Batman Part 2. Robin works best if you do it in your own DC universe, which would be The Brave and the Bold, whenever they decide to finally wake up and give Brandon Sklenar the job to be our new Batman for that universe. So I say all of this to say, what do you guys think of this story? Do you believe James Gunn when he says that Robin is not going to be in the Batman Part 2? I do feel like, look, as long as y'all give us a really compelling villain, y'all already know I want the Quarter Owls. That is who I'm really rooting for to be the main villains in the Batman Part 2, and if we get to see more of Robert Pattinson's Batman in action, that's what I'm really here for. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Where Robert says Batman and Robin killed the theatrical release for a decade, as well as Robin, because he wasn't in the Christopher Nolan trilogy, as well as Batgirl. Well, we did have Bat Robin of sorts. What I said, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, he was supposed to be Robin, but they just basically, it was just like a little situation, like a little scene where they just mentioned his name at the end. So, and then it's, but then Alicia Silverstone was a one movie wonder. Well, she's got some new show that I saw advertisements for that's coming on one of the streaming services. I heard Paramount might be interested in getting Warner Brothers, which I hope not, but I do know Warner Brothers is going to. Well, I don't know how they're going to get Warner Brothers when Paramount just secured a deal with what is it, Skydance? So that's a no, ma'am. But how you doing? All right, y'all. So now let's get into our next topic and let's talk about Fat Joe. So did y'all know that Fat Joe and Jadakiss had a podcast? I'm like, damn, everybody, I told you everybody and their mama got a damn podcast. But anyway, so they had a podcast and they were decided to debate about the reasoning behind why the BET Hip Hop Awards and the Soul Train Awards were put on ice indefinitely. So during a Wednesday, August 6th episode of podcast Joe and Jada, the lean back rapper reacted to the announcement by BET CEO Scott Mills to Billboard. Now, Mills told the publication that there's been an indefinite pause of the BET Hip Hop Awards and the Soul Train Music Awards, although the network has a team that's actively thinking about where those award shows might best live as the media climate. Now, Joey Crack and Jada, at first Jada did give his opinion, but Joey Crack decided to give his opinion and basically alluded to the fact that they're over there at BET cleaning house. Now, I do have the clip, courtesy of their show on the YouTube. I had to change up the audio and everything so that way, you know, they don't be like demonetization and all that other stuff. So I'll play that clip. God willing, no ads will be playing in this damn thing. And then we'll come back and talk. Please hold.
Yo, yeah, man. You know what it is, Joe and Jada, man. Hip hop shit for the culture. I was scrolling yesterday. I seen BET is canceling the BET Hip Hop Awards and the Soul Train Awards. Now, we all know our people. The BET, the Hip Hop Awards. So they started switching. I think they let you host it.
3 years. 3 years.
Kevin Hart do the last one, so they put a little bit of fluidity back into it. But it was a time when it got like the Ratchet Awards and nobody was really going and this and that. Then I guess with the passing of Don Cornelius, whoever was in charge of the Soul Train, I guess, I don't know, it slipped. It didn't have the same fluidity as it had other years, you know, before he passed. Mm-hmm. So now they just canceling it. That's like a loss for the culture. What'd you say?
You want me to say? You just explain what do you want you to say?
I just gave
I got a different approach, man.
Okay.
And my approach is factual. BET, this is a form of gentrification, what's going on right now. Right? So I don't know if y'all really want to ask me about this shit right here, right? So BET came up as a community station for Black people, right? In urban culture. And our man, Bob Johnson took the check. He sold it, first Black billionaire, whatever the case may be. He sold it to Viacom and Paramount, MTV and them, VH1 and them. Little by little over the years, quietly, they've been firing a lot of people behind the scenes in BET, and everybody who has something to say, they've been firing them and this and this and that. And I know because I've been working on the BET Hip Hop Awards for 3 years. Shit was like the budget, not for me, but the budget just getting chopped and chopped and chopped. And last year, I debuted my single with Khaled in the VMAs, and Katy Perry's still flying through the air in the VMAs. They still blowing out of the cannons. They still flying in the air. They still got all the tricks. They still got the budgets. They got the shit, you know. And so I think in the entertainment world, I don't think I know this was like a form of gentrification. They kept underfunding them, and you ain't got no money to be creative. That's why you was watching the Ratchet Awards and all that. They ain't had no bread. Last year we shot the last joint, and I am
they have bread for what they want to have bread for.
I'm so honored for the opportunity, Connie Orlando and the whole crew to let me host. That was one of the biggest things I ever wanted to do in my life. You know, I look up, if I never told you, I look up to a Steve Harvey. So Steve Harvey's my guy at media that I want to be like. And so, you know, that made me feel like I was Steve Harvey at hip hop and trying to keep it consistent. But I saw what they did to him. They just stopped the budgets. They started firing. I almost said arrested. They started firing a bunch of people who brought a lot to the table. And now we're left with, guess what? This ain't working. But nothing without no money, no promotions, no staff, no nothing works. It just don't work. You might as well have called it the Independent Awards. And so no Soul Train, no BET Awards. But guess what? We got the VMAs.
Those ain't for us.
Well, you got, you know, I'm being honest with you. I love the VMAs too.
I got the VMA, but then
I love the VMAs too. But the point is, that's your answer in a nutshell. That's what happened.
So they left us with one award. So
The
that
BET,
ain't really ours anyway.
yeah, but they got I think the main BET Awards.
No, the BET regular award is still there.
Yeah.
But that's still a little topsy-turvy.
Oh no, that's that's the second away. The writing's on the wall. If you see everything else falling down as a domino, that's the next one. One little fumble by Kevin Hart, one little joke too many, that shit over too. And so that's what it is. You know, sometimes you know, and I got a lot of friends at VMAs and MTV, and I love you guys, but you know, sometimes the goal is to buy your project to suppress you. You know what I'm saying? So the goal is, yo, some big company might come and be like, yo, we want to buy Rewind to 10. Throw us the Billy. And then like shut it down.
Yeah.
Like, yo, this shit got to go. We got to keep this thing moving. Who knows? That's just our take on Joe and Jada.
Yeah. Save hip hop.
Yep, save hip hop. So I definitely 110% agree with everything that they pretty much set up in here. It's like, yeah, on one hand, it got to do with, okay, Soul Train Awards, BET Hip Hop Awards, wasn't a lot of people watching it. So yeah, the ratings were what they were because I still stand on the fact that I truly believe the reason why we don't have those shows anymore is because, you know, over the years, the way that people consume a lot of these award shows, a lot of the younger generation don't really care about all this stuff. All they care about is the little clips that you see on all the social medias, particularly TikTok or Instagram or Facebook or wherever you get your social media stuff or wherever you get your information. So I do agree with them, with, you know, that could be the reason also. I also believe that it has been over the years that you get a lot of these when you sell Black content to people who are white with a lot of money, they're always going to take our rhythm and then chop down our blues. So they're going to give all of our things to the white people, and they're going to give the bigger budget to the white people. Quiet as it's kept, them numbers over there at VMAs ain't all that either. Like, how many times have we said on this show that when is the last time y'all actually seen a music video play on VMAs? Yet they have a VMAs every year. We got one coming up next month where they're about to honor Lady Gaga. And I guarantee you, whoever they got performing at the show, they're going to back up, you know, they're going to pour as much into putting that show together as, you know, seemingly possible. So we do have the BET Awards. It's said that, yeah, now all the pressure is going to be on the BET Awards because, you know, that being the only award show standing, and then you have to put all these, you know, we got to put all these categories to fit in this one show. That is kind of like a lot of pressure that's being put on them to be like, we have to have like, what, a 3-4 hour show now so that we can give, we can hit every market of the music community, so we can give the Afro beats talent time to perform on stage, the you know, our hip-hop stars, you know, the OGs, the R&B girlies and boys, the pop acts that are Black. Like, we gotta sit and hit every category, and all the pressure's being put on them, whereas with the VMAs, they have their same old people. They have their Sabrina Carpenters and the Chappella Rwanas and their Benson Boones, and maybe even trot out a veteran or two like a Mariah Carey or somebody like that. But for the most part, they don't really have to cater to the Black talent because MTV is, I mean, they've never, no shade, but they've never really been for the true Black talent. Black artists have had to fight to get screen time or, you know, any kind of presence on MTV. As David Bowie, or you can, he's dead, but David Bowie did an interview back in the day with MTV and called out MTV for the lack of Black entertainment on their channel. And they were up there gagging. They wasn't expecting him to come out and say that, but you know, David Bowie was a real one. I mean, he was married to Iman, one of the most beautiful Black women in all of the world. So, so there was that. But I 110% agree with Fat Joe and what they were saying in regards to that. And you know what? I just love like the old school generation of hip hop artists where it's like, yeah, the new and I know grift has been used as such in a negative way, but this is a good grift. I like the fact that we have a lot of older rappers and people who were in the industry that understood the old school way the industry works, that are not afraid to get up on a podcast and call out the industry for the BS and the things that they do, and give us a little inside behind the scenes tea in the meantime. So I ask all of you, what do you guys think of this story in regards to what Fat Joe had to say? Do you believe him do you agree with him when he's talking about that, yeah, gentrification is the blame? Is the word, the way I was looking at it, I'm like, is gentrification the right word to use? I just feel like it just sort of like little by little, they just trying to get rid of, black entertainment. And then all of a sudden, everybody gonna think that white people don't invent every damn thing. So it's just erasing the culture, I would think. But maybe, I don't know. I don't see gentrification as being a word, but I just feel like that a lot of what's happening is like the culture is being erased by a lot of these mainstream conglomerates. But here's the thing: a lot of people don't watch linear TV, so it's all about the streaming and it's all about that. And it's up to us pundits to keep the history of hip hop and black music alive. Hence why you see Beyonce doing what she's doing with the Cowboy Carter and the Renaissance and all that other stuff. We got to be the ones that teach the kids, because the children are our future, in the words of Whitney Houston. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Onyx says, I was thinking about the Bowie MTV interview sometime last week. I don't know why it came to mind, but I've always loved Bowie. He was also the first non-black artist to perform. Oh, David Bowie loved all types of music and was not afraid to let anybody know. So that's what I loved about him. And he always had respect for all the different genres. The industry never wanted to give those black artists credit nor recognition they deserve, but unfortunately it's like that by design. That's why I would say the one thing about black folks, I gotta stop trying to beg these white people for accolades or their awards, whatever the case is. We had to create our own. That's what that was done back in the day, until you got to a situation where said black talent who went in and decided to create the table that they were not, because they weren't allowed to have a seat at the table. They created the table, and then when the table got too damn big, then somebody offered them billions of dollars, and then they went and sold it. So it gets to that point, and then the white people come in and do whatever the hell they want. I'm becoming a fan of Mark Maron. He basically said the comedy club scene is to blame for Joe Rogan. He's not funny, but he drifted. But guess what? Everybody's saying this Austin comedy scene is on the level. Well, yeah, I've never found Joe Rogan to be funny, but he found his new grift. I do believe there's an erasure and segregation of artists in specific genres. Absolutely. Hence why SZA is the only black pop star with any sort of mainstream success. Hollywood don't have enough Virgos to call out this. Okay, that part. That is true. We do not have enough Virgos. Who's the Virgos out here that was, well, Michael Jackson's dead. Beyonce's still alive. I'm still alive. Pink is still alive. I don't know other Virgos that have been as outspoken. So, yeah. You're right, there aren't enough. Anyway. All right, now speaking of Beyonce, let's get into her, because her mama is out here yet again windmilling hard for her daughter Beyonce. So, oh my God, hold on, because there was something I forgot to do. I was like, damn, I knew it was something I forgot to do. I forgot to pull up this other picture, which is basically Tina Knowles, a screenshot that I got of Tina Knowles and, fuck, what happened? Hold on. Tina Knowles and the whole Beyonce situation. Hold on. I was like, I got it. Okay. Nope, I don't want to do that. Okay, so now I got it. So let me take this out. We're going to do a take two. So now take two and action. All right, y'all. So now let's get back into the show and let's talk about Miss Tina Knowles who was windmilling hard for her daughter. Now, she says everyone has a certain limit to foolishness, and it looks like Tina Knowles has just reached hers. Now, fans are responding to a post that Miss Tina made on Instagram, sending a message to people that speak ill about her daughter, Beyoncé. Now, the post was a video of Beyoncé's career growth from her humble beginnings in Houston, Texas, to her latest Cowboy Carter tour. The caption starts with a very proud Miss Tina talking about her daughter's growth and achievements. Now, I do have that photo. Hold on a second as I pull that up. Where's she at? Where's she at? Okay, there it is. So I will read it to y'all, where she went on to say, "This is bittersweet. The reenactment of her speech and twirl. Yes, her career has come full circle from that moment when she won her first People's Workshop Award to her doing it on her own sold-out concert tour in Houston. She thanked her parents in Houston. As a kid with big dreams, she made a commitment to work hard, polish her craft, take vocal lessons, dance lessons, sacrifice, focus, train, and mind her own damn business, and does not mess with anybody. She sticks close to her family. She's never gossiped or put anybody else down to make herself feel better. She never wasted her time on being jealous. She was taught very early on that her time and energy could be better used to focus on herself, to practice and perfect her craft. So she complimented others. She remained humble. She was inspired and respectful and paid homage to those great artists that came before her. She gave back to her community. She never used someone else's name to get publicity or attention for herself." Ooh, is she talking about Megyn Kelly and that chisel, Zohran and Miss Morgan, as in Piers Morgan, not Sonia, but Miss Piers? So I'm thinking that's what she's referring to. But them old, dried up clear folks was running out here, couldn't keep Beyonce name out her damn mouth, and then you had Piers Morgan running around talking about she's culturally appropriating Marilyn Monroe, as if Marilyn Monroe was a natural blonde. First of all, Norma Jean was a brunette that, if you want to talk about blonde, she culturally appropriated a blonde dye bottle. So if there was anything that Norma Jean appropriated, it was that. She changed up her whole situation, changed her name, and became one of the biggest blonde bombshells back in the 50s. So for you to sit up in here and try to say all that because y'all want to throw out your little racist dog whistles, it's like, sit and spin, sir. So now, she said no one lives rent-free in her head because she is obsessed with them or jealous of them. She has also never constantly criticized others' looks, talent, and character, has never lied on or started false rumors about others, has never started one-sided beefs with anyone. Is that a... I'm not gonna go there. Y'all probably know which female rapper I'm referring to. Yeah. And to get her name on mainstream media outlets or be relevant or in the current news. She chose to rely on her talent and hard work and her own name. But if she has helped you stay relevant or to get your name in the press, I'm very happy she could help you. You're welcome. God bless you. Girl, you should just say God bless. Or what's the other phrase that we like to use? Be blessed. Y'all should have did that because be blessed means fuck you, bitch. That's what usually I be thinking. So Miss Tina got, y'all done set her off. You already know Tina always gonna come out and windmill hard for her daughter publicist Tina. Cause that's who she be acting like she her daughter publicist. And you know what? I understand, like it's hard to not try to come at people who are always coming at your child, but I get it. When you're in mama bear mode, sometimes you just gotta let these hoes know on social media. Especially the ones that stay over trying to keep Beyonce name in their damn mouth. Now, one fan of the comments question, who we need to go beat up? Another fan had a similar question of who had caused this reaction. Said, read the children now. What said Miss Tina? Or, well, I done told you. It was probably Megyn Kelly, and it was probably Piers Morgan, and all these other people that have been running around here trying to drag Beyonce into situations to, justify whatever situations they got going on. They don't really care about Beyonce. They're just using her for their own personal gain or whatever the case is. So recently, as y'all know, Piers went on Twitter to accuse Beyonce of culturally appropriating Marilyn Monroe in her recent Levi's campaign because the singer wore blonde curly bob, which Morgan got significant backlash for, and rightfully so. And then he tried to, backpedal and basically say, "Oh, I was joking. You called take a joke." It's like, Queen, you wasn't joking. We knew damn well your sassy ass was up in here trying to come for Beyonce, and because you couldn't take the heat because your skin is about as thin as your hairline, then you had to go and backpedal. It's like, sir, if you're going to say something, stand on business. If you're going to come out here and try to read people and come for people, whatever comes with, you got to take the backlash along with your shade. So be prepared, because that's how the social media works, sir. And you need to keep Beyonce's name out your mouth. Now, if there's something that she was doing that's worth criticizing, then I could understand that. But y'all was up in here trying to do this to justify that old, boring broad with the saggy titties. What's her name? Sydney Sweeney, who I just heard, I don't know if this is true, but now they're talking about she about to get $10 million to be in a Coors Light ad. So she's not only doing tacky denim commercials, but she's doing cheap piss water beer ads too for a $10 million payday. But you know what? She might as well rack up as much money as she can, because quiet as it's kept as an actress, don't nobody care enough about her to want to watch her on a big damn screen. Because the last movie she was in, that I will say that I thoroughly was entertained with, was that movie where she was a nun that wound up pregnant. That was the last interesting movie that I thought that she was good in. After I ain't cared enough about a Sydney Sweeney to want to watch her basic looking ass on my big screen in my house, let alone on the big screen in the theater. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story regarding Tina Knowles coming out windmilling hard for Beyonce? I mean, it's expected. That's her daughter. And Tina never shies away from wanting to protect her child from a lot of these messy women out here and men that always got to keep their name in their mouth. And shout out to Dionne Warwick for coming to Beyonce's defense too in the last story that we did. I think it was like two episodes ago. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Streaming allows segregation. It's the new payola. Payola is only illegal on radio stations. Beyonce might have never gossiped, but she made sure Nicki Minaj. Well, I don't think. Well, look, some people could say that about Carrie Hilton too, among others. And I'm sure there'll be people in the comments that's going to probably throw that down in there. But on like when I cut it up and put it on the other platforms. But I don't know. I feel like Nicki Minaj has put herself in positions where the blacklisting was long before Beyonce came along and may have had anything to do with it. It's just a lot of people don't want to mess with her in the business. And then when you say this, people be like, oh, y'all just be making stuff up. Okay, I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't hear things in the streets. I just pull stuff out my ass. So we're just going to go with that. Maluma called out a fan for bringing her baby to his concert, saying, don't you even care about protecting her ears? If you couldn't get a babysitter, you should have said, you want to know something? Shout out to Maluma and his fine self. Because I've been seeing that a lot. Like, I've been seeing people who bring their babies to baseball games. I have seen them bring babies to concerts. That I don't get. Like, why are you bringing a baby to the concert? And then I don't even be seeing them having like I've seen some parents who have like the headphones like I got on. They'll put them like the sound protector ones. I'm like, okay, that's great. But why would you want to bring that's great for the ears. But to me, I still don't understand why would you want to bring a baby to a concert? Because you got to think about the amount of people that's in the room, people that are drinking. There'll be people in there that be smoking weed and stuff too. We try to do the best we can when handling that, but when it becomes a lot, it's hard to prevent people from doing drugs and stuff. The only time that you won't see people doing drugs and stuff at a lot of these concerts would be like Olivia Rodrigo, or maybe the Charisma Carpenter, Sabrina Carpenter, like anything where like little kids. You're not going to see a lot of them down. Their parents might drink, but the kids no. So yeah, I'd be interested if I'm sure there will be some drinking at the Katy Perry concert when I work that tomorrow, because I'm sure that it's not just gonna be little kids there; it's gonna be homosexuals, a lot of them there too. So my Grindr goes off. I'll let y'all know. But anyway, so yeah, so I just feel like he's right in that, and I wish there would be more artists that would call them out. Because I remember I saw a video of oh my God, who's the Afrobeats performer? Was it Rima or somebody? It was one of them that there was a woman that they passed her baby up on the stage. I'm like, what is wrong with y'all? And you in like the front where there's like crowds. Like, what if you would have got squashed or the baby would have fell and people didn't know there was a baby there and accidentally tripped over the kid? Like this, like I just don't understand that. So yeah, parents, look, no shade. I know y'all want to get out the house. I know y'all want to have a good time. I know y'all want to party. I know you want to take time away from the kid. However, if you're going to push a baby out of you, playtime is over. Unless you can find a babysitter, do not bring your kids to these establishments for their safety. And it's like, yes, what about their ears? You should care about that. So the more artists that call this out, the better. I don't think we can say anything because people will go, oh, you're discriminating against me because I brought a baby and stuff up in there. And in certain situations, we have rooms where parents can go and breastfeed and all that other stuff. So we provide the things for them. But if parents want to go and put their kids out there and put them in these situations, what can you do? Except it'd be up to y'all to shame them. Start a fight and we got to break it up. There was an annoying baby when I went to go see Barbie and she was talking during the whole monologue scene. There was one movie that I saw, I can't remember what it was, but there was a kid in there crying and that shit irritated me. I think somebody did make a comment about it. Must anti-trans rhetoric goes back to his daughter. Basically, Vivian disowning him and his last name. He took it personal. Well, because he's sensitive. All that mess and he be out here trying to discriminate and do stuff, and then he don't realize. I mean, are you slow enough to not? But then again, he do allegedly have. He's autistic, so maybe he doesn't get like social cues, and yeah, then his own child's like, oh, so you gonna sit up here and say all this anti-trans stuff about me? Yeah, I'm disowning you. All skin folk ain't kinfolk, so it is what it is. But anyway, let's move on, y'all. Listen by Miss Jennifer Lopez, who apparently had found herself denied entry in Chanel. And I can understand why if you saw what she was wearing. So I'm starting to think that, is it discrimination or is it the fact that they have a specific dress code that they go with when you go to a Chanel shop? So yeah, so Jennifer was, she's overseas performing on her tour. I think she's doing like 21 dates or something or another. But she was in Turkey, and she went to their one of their upscale shopping mall. And when she approached the Chanel store, according to Turkey Today, a security guard inside the boutique reportedly prevented her from entering, which apparently didn't faze her. She was like, "Okay, no problem." And then they said she stood out in a baby pink set with matching sunglasses, reportedly responded calmly before walking away without reaction. Well, I think it's because she is now, even though she has this big ego that we always talk about, she's well aware that the paparazzi and all these other stuff is following her. So she can't be up in here and getting like popping off and being like, oh, you MFers and all this other stuff, and then start cursing and all this other mess, because then they'll capture it. Then it'll be like, oh, J-Lo's being a diva and all this other stuff. So she got to play it cool, calm, and collective. But then what had happened was they said she decided to spend her time and her money, totaling tens of thousands of dollars, at neighboring fashion houses like Celine, not the Dion, and Bayman, according to the outlet. Lopez is on it's a 19-stop summer tour titled Up All Night that began on July 8th in Vigo, Spain, which I already told y'all that the Spain tickets wasn't really doing what needed to be done in regards of like selling. Because my España friends who live out there was spilling the tea and telling me. And so they said it will conclude on August 10th in Almaty, Kazakhstan. So today literally is, I think it's the final stop in her tour. So the singer has gushed on Instagram after almost every show, but has yet to post about her August 5th performance in Istanbul. Her reps did not immediately respond to Page Six's request for comment. Now, however, they said that she did celebrate her July 24th birthday in Turkey the day after the Antalya show. I think that's how you say it. She said birthday, she captained a 12-slide carousel that began with a makeup-free selfie. Antalya, Turkey, what a gift you are. Thank you so much for all your beautiful birthday wishes. The rest of the photos and videos showed the actress dancing around a birthday cake, carrying a bouquet of flowers, singing on a stage, and relaxing in a hotel with her friends and her family and no man, which is actually good because for once, Shantae don't need to have a man at home in order to be, happy or whatever the case is. But with that being said, I did come across this video because Bethany Frankel actually came out and was like, she too has experienced discrimination at Chanel, to which somebody applied in the comments, TJ Maxx would never. So we're gonna play that clip. There's actually two clips. I want to play you this one, and then there was one where she actually did an experiment to see, based off if it was a dress code thing, if she can go in and get in Chanel with what she was wearing. Now, hold on. Please hold.
So I'm in Chicago, and the man at the Chanel store opens the door like this much. Like Ratatouille couldn't fit in there. And he's like, hello? Do you have an appointment? Like, he's like Lurch in the Addams Family. Like, you rang? And I'm already on the offensive. And I'm like, no, I don't have an appointment. I have a credit card. I have a bag of carrots, popcorn, a basic bitch purse. Am I not allowed to come in at 3:54 on a Tuesday? Evidently not. I don't have an appointment. And to be like treated like you're an interloper. Like, I'm just walking down the street, just opening up a door to just walk into a store. I thought that's what happened. Like, I didn't realize that we're not allowed to walk into stores anymore. I don't have an appointment. Got to get a pap smear appointment and also to go walk in Chanel. No big deal.
Not a basic bitch purse. I was like, okay, Bethany. And there was another one where I think, is this it? So this one I should have had. Oh, no, I got it. It's right here. It was like right next to each other. Okay, so now this is the other clip where she goes in and starts talking about like the experiment.
Yesterday.
Hold on.
If they let me, I'm going into Chanel now dressed much differently than I was dressed yesterday. If they let me in because of how I look, Christmas is canceled. Let's do this. Problem today. We're very nice outside.
They did all, child. First of all, y'all doing too damn much. She did all that to walk in and then walk out, but that is going to show, like, okay, channel, because that's what y'all going to be called when you out of line. You not Chanel, you channel. Just like Versace is Versace, you're channel. So y'all doing too damn much. Like, y'all got to put out these little ropes. And I understand y'all want to make it look fancy and all that, but you got to make appointments. Y'all act like it's like packed up in Chanel. Probably y'all could get like 1 or 2 people a day. But I guess they feel that if you spend 20K, 30K, then that's enough to hold them down for like what, maybe a couple of weeks. So I don't know. So Chanel, y'all need to do better. And look, this isn't the first time that people have been discriminated against or whatever the reason. I would like to know that what the reason was. But I also heard that when they found out that it was, for Lopez that had came to stop by the shop, they invited her to come back and she was like, nah, I'm good. And then went somewhere else. So y'all out here, like, I guess maybe they looked at what she was wearing and was like, who this homeless looking regular mita bitch that is, and because I'm sure that's probably how they was thinking, that pull it up to, Chanel. Do that? She got money? Oh, you didn't recognize her? But I guess to her, she looked like just some random broad. But that's why I'm always like, you never know who is going to pull up in a situation. And y'all need to do better with how y'all treat people who's coming up in there. Because wasn't there a point one time that they discriminated against Oprah when she went to Hermes to do shopping and things of that nature? So yeah. I guess in this situation, for Lopez, even though we ain't gonna be going up in there buying nothing that crazy expensive, whatever. She just like us, where she get turned away at shops, regardless of how much money she got in her account. They turn away everybody up in there. Well, they turn her away. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story regarding Jennifer getting pushed away or turned away? At channel. I keep forgetting that's what we calling it until y'all straighten up and act the fuck right. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. So that one scene from the Selena movie, not that scene, yeah. And so they, yeah, that white lady tried it, and so all them Mexicans was like, "Ooh, that's Selena," and everybody done showed up at the mall, and that lady felt dumb. It's like, yeah, just because you don't know who she is doesn't mean that everybody else don't know who she is. Just because she's not your favorite white artist, Barbara Streisand, don't necessarily mean, because I was trying to think who would have been big at that time in the 90s. That would have been that lady, that lady of a certain age that discriminated against Selena. I was pulling up Barbara Streisand. Because I don't think she was listening to like Madonna or Paula Abdul. Like she wasn't giving that. That was the 90s. You was listening to Barbara. Or, Tony Bennett. So yeah, it was definitely given that. It was like, so yeah, she experienced what Selena experienced in that boutique where she went to go shopping. All right, y'all. So now let's get into some politics and let's talk about Andrew Cuomo Clueless ass that's running around here trying to come for Zohran Mamdani. I was like, what you're not going to do is come for the future mayor, because tell me you clueless without trying to tell me that you are clueless in this situation when it comes to politics. So Andrew decided to fix his old ass mouth and try to come for Zohran, saying he living in a rent-stabilized apartment despite being very rich. Now, while the rhetoric in the city's mayoral race has become more heated as November draws closer, things took an even more personal turn this week. Now, on Friday, Andrew Cuomo slammed Zohran Mamdani for living in a rent-stabilized apartment, invoking both his wife and parents, and yeah, he's married. I don't know if y'all knew that, but Zohran got a wife. And suggesting his choice to remain in that apartment is causing someone else to be homeless. Mind you, we have a huge amount of homeless people in New York City. I be seeing them all up on the streets, a lot of mental health issues, but then there's also those who are families, who are trying to struggle to make ends meet, who have had to resort to going to shelters so they can get rent-stabilized apartments. I don't know how this man thought that if Zohran give up his one little apartment in Astoria, Queens, because I'm hearing that's where he lives, so what there's not going to help the bigger problem, which is we have a high amount of people who are without homes in New York. But of course, this was his situation, and this is somebody who is so clueless. He thinks $142,000 salary is rich. Really? Because $142,000 in New York, that's middle class. That's not rich. And that is going to show how out of touch you are. But how would you know when you have a bunch of billionaires and millionaires funding your campaign? And I don't care how much money they funnel into your damn campaign. You're not winning. So yeah, here's his full-length situation on what he said. So he says, somewhere last night in New York City, a single mother and her children slept at a homeless shelter because you, Assemblyman Zohran K. Mamdani, are occupying her rent-controlled apartment, because apparently it was hers before he snatched it. That's what it sounds like. You grew up rich and married an even wealthier woman. You've had weddings on 3 continents. You own property in LGBTQIA murderous Uganda. And that is the part that pissed me off, because what he's saying with this shit, see, I knew I was going to start cussing. When it's like, oh, you own property in Uganda, which hates gays. Quiet as it's kept, they hate gays in the United States too. I mean, it's not as bad as it is in other countries, but we're dealing with a lot of discrimination against the LGBTQIA plus community in certain states in America. And so this is that same thing that comes out when it comes to when you say, well, you want to know something? I actually wrote down everything that I was going to say in this moment. I don't want to keep jumping back and forth in what, jumping in and dropping my commentary. So I'm going to just finish reading this and I'm going to tell y'all what I wrote. So he said, you make $142,000 a year plus stipends, and your wife works too, meaning you together likely make well over $200,000. So like I said before, he thinks $200,000 is rich. And that's rich coming from somebody who actually is rich but don't live in New York. Yes, Andrew Cuomo does not live here, but you want to run for mayor here. I also heard that Eric Adams doesn't live here too, that he was in Jersey. Said no matter which way you cut it, Zohran Mamdani is a rich person. You are actually very rich. Yet you and your wife paid $2,300 a month as you bragged for a nice apartment in Astoria. And I don't know where y'all think $2,300 a month is reasonable for an apartment in New York City. That's way too damn high. People should not be paying $2,300. Like when I was my rent when it was like me and two other people together, it was like $2,300. That seems more reasonable versus a couple paying $2,300 a month with both salaries. Can you imagine like a single person and how much their rent is in New York? And then that should be housing for someone who needs it. But the person who needs it, can they afford to pay $2,300 a month? That's the conversation we should be having. Instead of you trying to shame someone that you think is rich with a $200,000 salary based on what he does and thinking that that's rich. So he says, we are in the middle of a historic affordability crisis. Millions of low-income New Yorkers need this apartment and an apartment like it, yet your apartment remains rented to rich people who don't need it. Today, I'm calling on you to move out immediately and give your affordable housing back to an unhoused family who need it. Leaders must show moral clarity. Time to move out. Who the hell is he? Like he the landlord police trying to tell somebody how to, where they need to move out. Like, fuck off. So, yes, Mamdani has been open about his living situation, telling moderators at a primary debate that he paid $2,300 a month for his one-bedroom apartment. In that same debate, Cuomo said that he pays about $7,800 for rent. He paid $7,800 where? Because I don't think he lives in New York, from what I heard. Now, in a February interview with the New York editorial board, a group of veteran local journalists, Mamdani says he first found the listing for his apartment on Street Easy back when he was making $47,000 a year, working as a foreclosure prevention housing counselor. Mamdani told the group that he ultimately plans to move out of his Astoria home. Yeah, when he actually wins the mayoral election, he can move into Gracie Mansion. And then that Magilla Gorilla-looking bastard, the criminal, Eric Adams, can move his ass into a prison, which of course he ain't gonna go to because he got pardoned in so many ways or protection from Donald Trump, one of the biggest criminals in the damn White House. Now, in that time, they said, since I become an assembly member and I'm now able to pay for that apartment and able to also move out of that apartment, and I plan on doing so. I don't plan on living in that apartment for perpetuity. So, yeah, that's when he'll move out, when you lose the mayoral election again, because you lost the primary, sir. So now I think you must like getting your ass whooped, especially by a man of color. So we're going to see that happen again in 3 months. Because, well, we're already in August, 3.5 months, I'll say. Or maybe we can combine it with the 3 months because it's like August into September, October, November. So, yeah, in 3 months, we'll say that. Now, the former governor's post was boosted by Sean McGuire, a partner at Sequoia Capital who came under fire last month for offensive comments against Mamdani, saying, "It's good to see you fighting," he wrote. By contrast, City Council member Chai Osei, a supporter of Mamdani, responded, "Zohran will move from Astoria to Gracie Mansion on January 1st, about 2 months after you move back to the suburbs." Now, Cuomo's post appears part of a recent shift in social media strategy for his campaign, as the former governor's Twitter account was rattled off a constant series of posts aimed at Mamdani in increasingly personal tones, a likely attempt to make a play at the frontrunner success online, which you are absolutely losing. Like, people see through the grip, people see through the BS, people are not here for what you're doing. I think that also Andrew underestimated Zohran. He did not expect the younger generation to come out and vote in droves. And the fact of the matter is, yes, Gen Z and soon Gen Alpha are the ones who's really suffering, and millennials are suffering at the way New York has become since Rudy Giuliani decided to start his situation of pushing out all the nightlife and all the other stuff, which was run by the mob. And he had this big crackdown on the mafia and everything in New York, cleaned it up and made it a playground for the wealthy. So Giuliani started it. Oh my God, who was the other mayor that we had? Bloomberg, because I should remember that. Bloomberg, he got his own damn magazine or newspaper. That billionaire, they decided to put a businessman in New York. He cleaned it up even more, made it more of a playground for the wealthy. De Blasio was de Blasio. And then, of course, we got this old, Adams, who will just do whatever he can to go along and get along. Because he's the type that feels like his relatability level is, you'll see me at 2 a.m. in the back of a damn bar smoking a cigar. I was like, okay, sir. You're doing too much. Or because you think that makes you relatable. How about doing your goddamn job? That would make you even more relatable to the people. But it's not yet clear that the gambit will pay off. Now, on Wednesday, it's not paying off. Cuomo reshared a debate clip where he claimed President Trump would go through Mamdani like a hot knife through butter. A message that got 434 likes. So that goes to show how popular he is. Now, Mamdani rebutted his own post on Friday, sharing a New York Times article reporting on Cuomo allegedly telling business leaders he doesn't want to fight with Trump. Mamdani's response of a knife emoji and a butter emoji received 5,700 likes. So it even goes to show on social media, Mamdani's got you beat. Nobody is taking you seriously. You're a clown. And here's what I had to say. So look, the more Cuomo tries every attempt to come from Mamdani, the more pathetic he starts to look. Of all the things he tries to read him for, it's wanting him to move out of his rent-stabilized apartment. One of the many reasons the younger generation came out to vote for Zohran, especially when Cuomo underestimated the youth, expecting them to stay at home, as usual, while depending on the over 45 crowd to make him a shoe-in for the primaries, is because they are struggling to keep their head above water. Everything, especially the rent, is extremely high in New York, and the one thing that hasn't gone up is the work wages. Now, Cuomo, who is also wealthy and has taken millions from corporate donors, and the smear campaign he's on against Zohran, who is surging miles ahead in the polls against Andrew and even the more pathetic Eric Adams, just goes to show how completely out of touch he is with New Yorkers and our basic needs. I also find it quite hilarious that Andrew gives a damn about his so-called mother and her child who had to stay in a shelter while Zohran sleeps in a rent-stabilized apartment that Andrew claims is rightfully hers. With all these buildings being built around the 5 boroughs, are there no other vacant apartments you could put her in? Homeless families who are staying in shelters have a faster chance of securing a rent-stabilized apartment for someone with no kids. Now, if only Andrew cared as much about these elderly people who died on his watch during COVID at the nursing homes as much as he pretends to care about them families in homeless shelters. Now, does Andrew even have a plan regarding tackling our housing crisis? I mean, personally, I don't give a good goddamn, especially after the New York Apartment Association poured $2.5 million of their own money to backing him out of spite against Zohran, who plans on taking on the corrupt housing market. Now, I don't know if Zohran will be able to accomplish all of the things he wants to do when he wins. What I do know is that I'm tired of New York being a playground for the wealthy, while the rest of us who love the energy and the culture of New York City struggle to survive in this concrete jungle. Also, the comment he made about Uganda was tired. Zohran was born in Uganda, and what Cuomo said is your typical dog whistle that if you have a wedding or even visit a place that's against the queer community, then that makes you homophobic. That's the same Zionist talking point used against queer people who are against the genocide of Palestinians. They will go off and say they throw gay people off buildings. What that says is we're all a monolith and believe the same thing. And it's like, yes, just because they're in Palestine or wherever, in any country that could be Iran, it could be Saudi Arabia, whatever the case, that they throw queer people off buildings. So that justifies you going in and committing a genocide. So that's what you're saying. Is like, oh, so that means Zohran's not really for the LGBTQIA plus community? That you could have fooled me, because when he went in and mentioned the Cubby Hole, which is a lesbian bar, you get points for that. Besides, like bring up Stonewall and else, those are the usual hauntings. But you mentioned in the Cubby Hole as a bar that's with the LGBTQ community, you get a point for that. And to me, the fact that he has spoken openly in defense of the trans community without having to throw him under the bus, like Pete Booty Plug has done many a times in recent interviews, that goes to show that it's not performative in what he's doing. And you're mad because the old guard, the old strategy, the old way y'all doing things does not work anymore. To the point where Nutmeg McCain, of all people, jumped on the line and asserted herself in this situation and threw some shade at Andrew Cuomo and called him an out-of-touch loser. So Nutmeg McCain, shout out to her for the post for this story, took a jab at New York governor and accused at best Andrew Cuomo on Saturday, calling him an out-of-touch loser who would likely lose his bid for New York City mayor to his more left-leaning opponent, State Assembly member Zohran Mamdani. Now, Cuomo lost to Mamdani in the city's Democratic mayoral primary earlier this summer, but has indicated he plans on staying in the race because clearly he's a glutton for punishment, running as an independent in the general election. Which I could have sworn Eric Adams said he was also running as an independent. So you're trying to split the vote. This is why we got to keep an eye on the prize. Young people got to stay in the fight and all that good stuff. Now, on Thursday, Cuomo trash talked his rival on Twitter while invoking his own father, Mario Cuomo, who was rolling in his grave with the way him and his tired-ass brother, Chris, who has a hard-on for AOC because he can't keep her name out of his damn mouth, all over social media and this buffoonery that y'all doing. And grandfather Andrea Cuomo. Mario Cuomo served 3 terms as governor in New York in the 80s and 90s, while Andrea Cuomo was a grocer in Queens. So in case you forgot, I'm Andrew Cuomo, son of Mario, grandson of Andrea. Welcome to the heavyweight bout at Zohran Mamdani. This is a 2-man race. You look tired already. It's just the second round. I'm like, really? Because last time I checked, Zohran was doing good out here in these streets. If anybody looks tired, let alone tattered, it's you. Because that skin and everything, you could use a little, a little pufferation up in there. You could use a little Botox. You could use a little, massage up in the face. A little powder. You can use a little something. You could you could use a little, what they call those? Maybe you could take one of those clear things, where they resuscitate you, add that to the face, wake you up a little bit, splash some water in your face. You look a little tattered. So, to get back to the situation, McCain basically said the following. She said, you lost the primary and Mamdani is going to beat you in the general, by 80 points because you're lazy, corrupt, entitled, and thought you were owed it. Literally every single thing the American public is repulsed by. Your legacy is nothing more than an out-of-touch loser. And as I would always say, a broken clock is right twice a day. Nutmeg is correct. What she said with that is yes, you are lazy, you are corrupt, you are entitled, and you're a brat, you're a Nepo baby, and you feel like because my daddy was the governor, and I got to be the governor, and now I want to go for mayor because I was pretty much shamed out of New York after that scandal, the sexual harassment scandal. And then, of course, all those old people died on your watch in the nursing home during the COVID-19 situation. Now you want to run around here and try to save face and think that everybody done forgot because of the current administration we're in, and we just let any kind of criminals in. No, I guess Trump is enough. Now, everybody else that try to come in behind him, it's like, if you want a blue state, no, we're not putting up with that. Maybe down in the red states, in Texas, or Oklahoma, and Florida, and them places, you have a better chance of winning. Which you did say, sir, that if you lose, you moving your ass down to Florida. Well, pack light, head your ass on down there, sir, because you're not winning. And so, Nutmeg is correct when what she said in regards to this thing, it's we are repulsed by, especially this younger generation. That's why they came out in droves. They can't stand the corruption. They cannot stand the entitlement. They cannot stand the fact of people who don't come across as understanding or have a sense of just being relatable. And that's not you. And you're trying to find everything, including using some of Zohran's talking points and a lot of his strategy to try to get votes. And people see through it. It's too little too late. You already lost. But I guess, like I said, you're a masochist. You like abuse. So Cuomo's boast came 2 hours after a post in which he criticized Mamdani for living in a rent-regulated apartment, blah, blah, blah. We already talked about that. So yeah, Nutmeg is on it when she said that. And she also expressed opposition for President Donald Trump, made it clear that her comments don't mean she's a fan of Mamdani. When asked if she supported Mamdani, she said, I would rather eat glass. Well, girl, somebody better start breaking up glass and putting it in a cup for her so she can swallow. I hope you're about swallowing, or maybe you could chew it. I don't know. But yeah, she was right about the thing about Mamdani, calling him out. But her talking about I'd rather eat glass, bitch, she don't even live in New York. So we don't give a good goddamn what the Arizona princess thinks about who's going to be running stuff. But because you read Andrew Cuomo, you get points for that. Now, last but certainly not least, I do have this clip from a non-binary podcaster or someone who does a lot of videos and stuff on social media called I Am Blakely. And they went and posted this thing about, I don't know if we should play the whole thing. That's going to be like a good 8 minutes, but I want to play a little bit of it. Y'all can probably watch the whole thing. But they pretty much said some of the same stuff that I was saying up here on the social media. Or you know what, we'll probably play the whole thing because when it comes to politics, we could break it on down, Chad. So let's play this clip. We'll come back and then we'll talk. He's old.
I need you to be fucking serious for a second. We all know that Andrew Cuomo had his ass kicked in the primary, okay? We all know that the Democratic Party is full of shit because if a progressive had run a primary and had their asses kicked, like he had his ass kicked by Zohran, and then ran third party in the general to try to undermine the person who won, they'd all be having a fucking meltdown. They'd all be saying he was causing disunity and needed to drop out and back the nominee. But of course they're not, because they're full of shit and they never mean it. They just do the unity and vote blue no matter who routine in order to push the corporatists, in order to always push the establishment candidate. That's why the Democrats literally banned in their Reddit any talk of democratic socialism, which is amazing. Okay, so let's get to this ridiculous tweet. Here's this clown thinking that he's owning Zohran. He's really taking the gloves off. It's no more Mr. Nice Guy. He's working with all of his Trump donors and all of the Zionist billionaires in New York to try to take Mamdani down. We're going to go through it and dismantle this dumb bitch bit by bit. But before I do, I want to remind everybody that no matter how much billionaire money they put in it, no matter how much Zionist propaganda and Trump donors they put behind him, I want you all to remember that you are not powerless in this. It was young people that drove Mamdani's win. He built a multiracial working class coalition of a lot of people, so much so to the point where when Andrew Cuomo went to the fucking Hamptons, where his real constituency is, rich people, to bitch about Mamdani, he lamented how shocked he was that Mamdani won so much of the Jewish vote, as well as so much of the young people. People under 40, people under 30 really showed up for him. And that really spooked Andrew Cuomo because the parties are used to only older people showing up to vote. They are used to younger people not participating. So just keep that in mind. Remember that. You are not powerless. You need to show up with the same fucking energy you showed up for in the primary. Okay, so his latest strategy is to try to undermine Zohran Mamdani by trying to make it seem like he's rich and taking people's houses. Somewhere last night in New York City, a single mother and her children slept in a homeless shelter because you, Assemblyman Zohran, are occupying her rent-controlled apartment. Honestly, anybody who really pays attention to New York City politics or politics in general, that should be disqualifying. If you really are a progressive, if you really are somebody who is like liberal-minded, you care about working class people, you care about the poor, you want to address the homelessness issue, that should be a huge red flag to you. That should have set off your alarm bells, because what he's doing is he's taking a systemic problem that he has contributed to and trying to make it about one person. This is giving the same energy of when people go, we need to tax the rich. We need to fundamentally restructure our tax code. And some idiot capitalist bootlicker will go, tax the rich. If you want to help the poor so much, why don't you donate to a charity from your check? As if that addresses shit. And you really don't need to be a leftist, socialist, Marxist, commie, whatever the fucking order to understand that is an oligarch talking point. That is a right-wing billionaire class talking point. Everybody knows that the issue with rent is not one guy living in a rent-controlled apartment, which, by the way, he fucking grew up here. Like, why is he acting like he just moved here 5 minutes ago? And second of all, what I need people to realize is that he is trying to trigger people's rage about the income inequality and the unaffordability in New York City by putting it on Zohran, by putting it on a single person, rather than putting it on the people in charge. People like Andrew Cuomo. This bitch was a major contributor as to why New York is so unaffordable. Hundreds of thousands of poor and working class families are priced out of the city every single year, have had to move out of the city every single year because of bitches like this working on behalf of the real estate industry, private equity, and hedge funds instead of working on behalf of the regular people in New York City. Look at this bitch's donors. All he does is take money from the rich. All he does is take money from Trump donors. All he does is take money from Zionist billionaires and big real estate and fucking private equity. You think that this clown is going to do anything to address the unhoused situation or people being priced out of the city when he himself, who's been in politics for decades, has been a massive contributor to it? And then he goes on to trash him by saying that he was married to somebody wealthy. Are you joking? You literally married a Kennedy. Kennedy, as in the political royalty, the fucking Kennedys. Are you fucking joking? Third of all, you don't even live here, bitch. This bitch has not even lived here since the fucking Home Alone movie was made, okay? He has not lived in New York City for so long. He has no idea what it's like to live here. He doesn't take the fucking subway, bitch. And how you know how out of touch he is when he goes, $200,000 is your income. You guys are rich. Tell me you don't have any fucking idea what it's like to live in New York City without telling me. $200,000 in New York City is not rich. Billionaires use this place as a playground. You know, all your donors. Those are the people, all the people at the hedge funds like Bill Ackman and Sean McGuire and shit. All the fucking billionaire CEOs that are supporting your shit. They're the ones pricing people out of their apartments, not fucking Zohran living in a rent-controlled apartment, bitch. I just love it so much. Anybody who fucking has ever lived in New York City at any point, but especially in the last 15 years, knows that $200,000 is not rich here. And then he does the, oh, well, you're from Uganda and have a house there and they're anti-LGBTQ plus in Uganda. So gotcha. Again, more Zionist kind of framing. Like when they go, oh, if you went to Gaza, they'd throw you off a roof because they don't like queer people. You should move out to give your house to somebody who needs it. You mean like all the people that you priced out of the city? You mean like you? I know you're looking for an address because you haven't lived in the city in decades. This bitch hasn't lived here since like landlines were a thing. Brad Lander has an excellent thread responding to this clown on his Twitter, talking about how he presided over the loss of 96,000 units of rent stabilized apartments. Please go read the thread. It's amazing. He really fucking breaks down what a joke Andrew Cuomo is and the fucking nerve of him trying to lecture someone on rent-controlled apartments and affordability because, gotcha, you live in an apartment, maybe you should move out. As he presided over the loss of tens of thousands of units, worked with the right-wing IDC to destroy more affordable rent-controlled units. And on homelessness, as Lander points out, in a spat with Mike Bloomberg, Cuomo eliminated state funding for rental voucher programs known as Advantage that help people move out of shelters. He is trash. I feel like people aren't appreciating just how corrupt Andrew Cuomo is. Like, seriously, he is absolute garbage. So here's the thing. We know this, but he has a lot of money to lie and do propaganda. So all of us need to get a lot louder. All of us need to get a lot louder in pushing back on this. He has all the billionaires behind him, all the private equity, all the massive corporations behind him. So he's going to continue to lie and put out this propaganda. It is incumbent upon Zohran himself and his surrogates, like Brad Lander, so good for him here, to continue to debunk and call out these lies so that people are not fooled. This is not the time, Zohran, for you to try to play patty cakes with the establishment and back down on your positions, including when it comes to the Israeli regime. It's time to step it up. You need to get just as aggressive in going after this corrupt piece of shit. I don't understand the thinking of even some people that think that the people that brought us to this horrific place that we're in are going to be the ones to get us out. Cuomo is in the pocket of all the landlords, okay? That's who the landlords and the big landlords are supporting. But why do some people think? And again, you know, a lot of people aren't falling for it, which is why Zohran beat his ass in the primary. But there are still people who think that the people who brought us to the point where we're at now are going to be the ones to get us out of it. Andrew Cuomo is one of the old guard establishment Democrats who has been in office for literally decades, creating the neoliberal conditions of income inequality and unbearable unaffordability that we are living with now. But we're supposed to believe he's going to be the one to help get us out of it. Fuck out of here. I need you to be serious. I need you to.
All right, so there you have it. I think I'll just leave it at that because I feel like I said all I need to say in the situation. I just wanted to let them say what they needed to say in that whole TikTok post. So I'll leave it up to y'all. What do you guys think of this story? You know, those are my fellow New Yorkers. And look, I always say this. The one thing I like about this whole situation, I don't know what Zohran will bring, but I know that I'm tired of the old guard. The old guard has not worked for us for a very long time. So many people are being priced out. I don't like this whole idea of every year I gotta move somewhere. Like, that shit is annoying, where I always got to constantly find a new apartment or something. Like, it's annoying. And then, or the point where it gets that it's like I can't afford my apartments and then I gotta sit and stay with my parents for a little bit and then until I can get on my feet. Like, who wants to keep doing that? Or, you know, just regular people who wants to keep going through hardships because they make it so hard for us to keep our heads above water in New York. And so, and I love it here. I love the culture. I love the energy. I love everything about New York. I love like the real and the heart, you know, the overall realness of the people here. And this, New York should not just be a place where a bunch of billionaires and people with money should just be keeping everything afloat, because y'all not keeping things afloat. Quiet as it's kept, y'all not the ones doing the work. It's the regular New Yorkers that are keeping the machine afloat. So when y'all continue to make it more hard for people here, and I don't understand how y'all think that, people spending $3,000, $4,000 on an apartment. I mean, what does that do for you guys that are running these apartments, or making it hard for people to be able to buy a home or whatever? Because you have companies that are buying up all the apartments, so that way people could be beholden to them to constantly just rent, because I don't want people to own. So there's a lot of corruption and stuff that's going on. There's a lot of these politicians who are just because with their little bit of money they're making, they're doing little side deals and all kinds of corrupt stuff, so that way they can line their pockets with millions and millions of dollars, and then sit up here and try to feed us this BS that they care for the people. And and I think now people are finally starting to see through the BS because of social media, because a lot of people who are out here removing the curtain and unplugging everybody from the matrix and telling y'all, like, look, this is what you've been lied to by the old guard. And they think that these old strategies are still going to work in this era of social media. And the younger people that are coming up now are like, nope, they're tired of it, because they're the ones who are really suffering at the hands of a lot of the corruption. So I definitely want to hear from y'all. Let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. They said when Nutmeg says the winner is Zohran because he even has Trump supporters where you only have your fans. Zach Bryan vows to never play in Kansas City ever. What the hell happened out there? It was like right-wing grifters are going to make fun of the person that made that TikTok, and I feel bad for her. Well, I'm sure they're used to it. And look, Ian Blakely has been, I think they get on a lot of, I don't know if they've been on a lot of shows, but I remember Sabby Sabs had them on one of the episodes, I think, when they were talking about Zohran and what was going on in New York. So they get in the ring. But of course they're going to make fun of it, but that's something we got to be prepared for. It's like when we start talking politics and stuff on social media, you're always going to get those people that's going to come out and try to come for you. You got to be ready to cuss them the fuck out or block them. One or the other. All right, so, child, let's get into this mess. Let's talk about Alicia Keys, who might soon find herself single, because word on the street is that Swizzy, and that's two people I saw was reporting on this story. It was Media Takeout, which we could always take what they say with a grain a grain of salt. And also Sandra Rose came out and said something or another about this story. So anyway, let's get into it. So according to a report, Alicia is planning to file for divorce amid allegations that Swizz fathered an outside child with his longtime side piece. Now, rumors have been swirling for years about the music producer cheating on Alicia with side pieces. But he allegedly got sloppy and fathered a child with one woman. So you was out here pulling a Kelvin Hunter. Now, Alicia, who's 44, and Swizz were married in 2010 and shared 2 kids. He also has 3 kids from previous relationships. Yeah, because remember when, I'll get into that in a minute, because I know y'all just be ready for the situation about Alicia. Look, you brought this upon yourself, because remember how you got with him, and now he's doing it to you. Now, according to Instagram blogger No Sleep _411, Swizz 46 got his longtime side piece pregnant. Alicia, why did I always feel like Swizz Beatz was older than 46? Alicia reportedly found out after Swizz provided a sample for a court-ordered paternity test. The test allegedly confirmed he is the daddy, and now Alicia wants a marriage. They kept up outside appearances by celebrating their 15th wedding anniversary recently. She posted photos on her Instagram on July 31st. So there was this one that popped up. Wait, hold on. Because I was like, why am I not seeing it? Yeah, so they went and posted this to do, he got, oh wait, so yeah, she posted this. I don't think it had another wait, did it have a caption? Oh yeah, they said, we are sublime, devoted, longer than time, you are mine, I'm yours. Are these lyrics to a song? Because that's what it's given. And she said, 15 years of magic, and we're just getting started. And this was done by the magnificent. First of all, you need to get your money back, because this post looks like it looks messy. Like, I don't know what happened with this picture, but why it look blurry? Were y'all like hiding Cooter Brown or somebody was drunk? Because yeah, it's like it looks faded. In the words of Jinx Monsoon doing Lil Edie. But child, the people in the comments were shady. The one said, happy anniversary. Why is the internet saying y'all get a divorce? Another person says, so do he got a baby on the way or no? Another person says, so what about the piece your husband got, well, the side baby your husband got on? You want to talk about that? Another person said, stole that man from his wife. Another person said, damn, Swizzy, how you cheat on this? Easy, just like he cheated on Mashonda with this. So another person said, photos as blurry as the relationship. Y'all are going in the comments. That is funny. That's why I said, who took this picture? Like, first of all, I hope y'all didn't pay for it, because just like y'all up in here and y'all gave credit to this person, Ming Smith photo. I don't know if Ming blind. Are they Asian? Let me see. Well, it's not popping up, so I guess it don't matter. But Ming, child, bigger show. You got cataracts? Cause who took these pictures? They said the blogs must have got you two mixed up with another couple because they reporting that you two are divorcing. Another person said, like I said, you lose them how you got them. So they all up in the comments on this, but that's not all. So they also, Swizzy went and posted something on his page regarding, now these pictures look way better. Maybe y'all should have used the same photographer. Now he went and put, wow, when 15 years feels like 5. Wait, hold on. It is a video, so I can play it. I'm going to keep the sound off just in case that there is music, because I ain't even listened to it. It said, happy anniversary, my love. And this was like last week. Thank you for 15 years of bliss and happiness. Where the hell did time go? Today is the first day to rest on our life. Happy anniversary, the Deans. John Legend was up in the comment. You know he's not gonna say nothing negative. He said happy anniversary. Another person said, so this way it come. Shame on you cheating on this beautiful woman. And what y'all put, see, they don't know how we do over here. Put allegedly and stuff. I'm hearing that you allegedly cheated. Why you putting shame on you for cheating? Like, y'all don't know if it really happened. But if it did, let's entertain it, because that's what we're doing. Another one person, a love like this is worth wishing for. Well, child, if there's cheating involved, I don't think that's what y'all want. Another person said, what you guys have made together. So yeah, there's a couple of people in here that's being positive, but there's some in there where there's some people in here that was throwing a couple of daggers. But here's the thing that I don't understand, and this is the weird part for me. So it's all right for y'all to do that all on her page, but we get like 1 or 2 on his. Like, I feel like y'all need to get him the same energy. So I don't like that if it's alleged to be true that he is out here laying it low and spreading it wild with other women. That I don't think that y'all should just be going in and letting have on just her, and then you not going in on him, because it take 2 to tango last time I checked. So yeah, the people was eating them both up in the IG comments. And like I said, if it turns out to be true, and Alicia actually shows she got some damn dignity and will divorce her for cheating on her, all I got to say at the end of the day, this, regarding this spicy tea, is how you get him is how you lose him. So allegedly she was out there cheating with this man, probably to, kill them lesbian rumors, allegedly, that was going around, because Alicia Keys was definitely giving Bull Dagger from Harlem tease back in the day when she had them braids and she used to dress like a Bull Dagger. And, the rumors was going around that she liked to eat the box like Queen Latifah and MC Lyte and all of them. And so, and I'm not outing those girls. We already know they like to, tap dance on the box. So, or the brat. She was giving a lot of that with the look. And that's how a lot of the girls in New York look. A lot of these girls out here are hard. Them Harlem streets ain't no joke. Well, now it's a little more gentrified. But the Harlem, the Brooklyn, that whole suburb, we got a lot of those hard-edged girls out here. I'm not saying all of them is lesbians, but upon appearance, Alicia was giving that. She was giving Mr. Keys rather than Miss Keys. So I can see why she probably thought I'd rather be seen as a philanderer than a lesbian. And that's probably what she jumped in. And so now she out here been hit with that Scarlet A, and she ain't recovered since. Because y'all still won't let y'all foot up off her neck. But anyway. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this thing regarding Alicia Keys and Swizz Beatz? There was only a couple of, like Sandra Rose, like I said, and Media Takeout, the only ones that have been out here, or Media Fake Out. was reporting on this story, and like the other person that was referenced from Instagram that was running around here with this T, what was their name? No sleep underscore 411. So yeah, this is the tea that's coming out. Now, if it turns out to be true, we'll revisit this once the major trades and stuff starts talking about it. But in the meantime, that is the rumor that is swirling. I definitely want to hear from y'all. So let me know what your thoughts are on this story in the comments down below. Ooh, hold on. Because I almost forgot how to do the show. Okay, so now let's move on and let's talk about Miss Paris Hilton. Because word on the street is that there might be trouble in marriage paradise for her too, because apparently they're saying that she's still out here chasing fame. Her husband Carter wanted her to kind of settle down and be at home and be a stay-at-home mom and doesn't want her out here working and all this other stuff. And I guess he didn't realize who he married. She is not Nikki, and Nikki is, married to a Rothschild. So she could easily just sit on her behind and not do nothing and be, taken care of and, living in a wealthy relationship. But Paris has always been an independent woman. So, according to Radar Online, Paris Hilton's marriage to Carter Reum is at the breaking point over her refusal to give up her search for the spotlight despite being a mom of their 2 toddlers. Insiders exclusively told Radar Online that Reum, who's 44, is furious over the careless heiress's plans to launch and promote a Paris-branded string of boutique hotels. Well, look, somebody got to do it because, like what I was saying before, when it came to Paris is had to become a businesswoman and launch her own thing because she wasn't getting a handout from her parents. So she had to create her own thing. And she is one of the most successful girls out there. He said he knows this will take her away from the family for extended periods, and he's not happy about it. Now, Hilton, who's also 44, and Reum have also been married for 4 years, and sources said that he wants her to be a stay-at-home mom to Phoenix, who's 2, and London, who's 1. And while she's excited to get back to work, the entrepreneur author hubby is less than thrilled that she's choosing career over being a stay-at-home mom. Now, up until she turned 40, Paris has been engaged but never married. Always the bridesmaid, never the bride. And she and Carter didn't have kids until she turned 42. For most of her life, she's been living in the limelight and she misses the action and the attention, but that would leave him holding the parenting bag. Saying her whole life has been one long photo shoot, staying at home every day with the 2 kids and the dogs while Carter brings home the bread is not her idea of how to live her life. Well, I think, and they said there's real fear that the marriage may not survive. Well, here's the thing. Paris has always had to, like I said, be her own businesswoman. She's always had to protect and have her own thing. And if men can't understand that, not just her, but any woman, because we're about to get into this thing about Halle Berry too, where Dave Justice is talking out of his damn mouth on why he divorced her. Some of these women had to come out here and had to fight and do their own thing because it's like, I got to help me at the end of the day. I got to make sure that I got food in my mouth, clothes on my back, and a roof over my head. I'm not going to sit up out here and depend on some man or whatever their childhood upbringing is or whatever they had to deal with. You don't understand that. And for these men to run around still with this old caveman mentality where they think that a woman can't have a career or a woman has to sit and depend on the man to bring home the bacon and I'm going to just sit up in the house when, yeah, I've been in reality TV. I had the pop star career. Their second album was a choice, but the first album was, successful in its own right. And Paris was out here doing what needed to be done to have her keep her career going and going and going and going. And if her husband can't understand that, then unfortunately, you know what? I hate having to get to a point where she's got to be a single mother, but that may have to be the choice that she's going to have to make if she's going to be able to continue to have the career that she wants to have. But so do I believe this? I mean, who knows with Radar Online? Sometimes I be side-eyeing a lot of their stuff. And if this turns out to be true, then I'll be sad for her that she is going to be out here raising 2 boys or 2 kids with, I think she did have 2 boys, right? So 2 kids without, the father in their life. But it's like, no, you should have known. This is why I don't understand also that people that get in these relationships, are y'all not aware of who y'all get with when y'all get with them? Like you thinking that you got the magic stick that's going to come in and make this woman just become a what do they call it? A trad wife? Like, what you thought she was JoJo Siwa? That she was going to sit out here and wear that Marilyn Monroe wig and, sit out here and sing that, I was going to say Totally Eclipse of the Heart. What was the song that she's Betty Davis Eyes? But you thought that you was going to get Paris Hilton to come out here and sing Betty Davis Eyes and just be fully invested in some man, and that was going to be that? It's like, Paris has never had to compromise her Christianity just for some success. She's always had to march or beat her own drum and make whatever work for her because nobody gave her a damn handout. I mean, yeah, but her being a Hilton, that may have given her a leg up in some sort of way, but she had to fight for everything that she's gotten. So to sit up here and think that I'm just going to sit up here and depend on some man to take care of me, you got me all the way up, as I would say. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story? Do you believe that Paris Hilton's marriage could be on the rocks due to the fact that her husband wants her to sit at home and be a mom and take care of the kids? And it's like, I got to keep the money rolling in. Sure, you got your own thing or whatever, but I got to have my own money and stuff too. And I always said that if you're going to be in a relationship, yes, you should be your own entrepreneur. You should have your own money. You should have your own FU money, to be quite frank, just in case something happens in the relationship. Because it's like, okay, so I'm a stay-at-home mom, then what? I got to sit and depend on your money to take care of me, and I got to beg you to be... No, I'm not sitting in the house just looking at these four walls, and this is a big-ass mansion that I'm living in and raising children. That's why they got nannies. And there's no shade, because it's like, yeah, we got all the other stuff, and I'm going to be a very hands-on parent, but when need be, I'm going to depend on the nannies to come in and assist me in a lot of situations because my money affords me to be able to have those options. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. All right, let me close that up. Let's move on down to the next topic. All right, y'all, so let's get into this Halle Berry story because we were just talking about Paris Hilton and the situation was going on with her relationship and that it may be on the rocks because of her, her husband wants her to stay at home. But look, Dave Justice, who was her husband, was it her first or her second husband? I think it might have been her first husband because then she was married to Eric Benet at one point. I can't keep track. Halle been married a lot of times. So Dave Justice recently did a podcast interview and spilled the tea on why his marriage to Halle Berry didn't work. So he said, my knowledge and my understanding, my wisdom around relationships just wasn't vast. This is what the former Major League Baseball player said on Matt Barnes's All the Smoke podcast on Thursday. He says, so I'm looking at my mom, and I'm a Midwest guy. So in my mind, I'm thinking a wife at that time should cook, clean, be traditional, Then I'm thinking, okay, if we have kids, is this the woman I want to have kids with and build a family with? At that time, as a young guy, she don't cook, she don't clean, don't really seem like motherly, and then we start having issues. The former Atlanta Braves player, who's 59, I think they're about the same age, confessed that their demanding careers also played a role in the split. Said we spent a lot of time apart because she was doing movies in this country, that country, and we honestly probably could have made it if I knew about therapy. If we knew about therapy, we probably could have made it. This is what he told Barnes, who's 45. Now, he said, we never had any major issues like that. It's just because I was young and had only been in one real relationship before her. The former athlete said that he didn't know if his heart was really into it when she's 1 year younger. When Berry, 58, asked him to marry her after they had only been dating for 5 months. He said, I said okay because I couldn't say no. Who's going to say no at that time? I mean, yeah, if you in the bed with Halle Berry, if you dating somebody like Halle Berry, it's like, how do I turn her down of all people? Like, this is one of the most beautiful women in the world at that time. And yeah, you an athlete, you got somebody as gorgeous and as fine as Halle Berry in your arm. I probably would have drank the Kool-Aid and would have been like, yeah, I'll marry you, even though it's a bad idea. But I totally get it. It's the fact that, you know what? He was young. He was immature. When you know better, you do better. And the fact of the matter is, it's like, yeah, and let's be frank, I feel like a lot of times boys want to marry somebody that's just like their mother. I'm sure, like, if I got married, I would want somebody that's like my mother too. It's like we always tend to marry somebody that is a reflection of our upbringing. So you think that you want somebody, and my mother is not somebody that did the cook and clean. I mean, she did that because when my father was at work, working in the medical industry. My mother was someone who worked in school, and she had to make her schedule work around our time. So by the time we got off school, she got out of work, she can come home, make us dinner, help us with our homework, and that sort of thing. And so she retired like 20 some odd years ago. But yeah, she retired fairly young. But so that kind of helped in so many ways, where so that made it work. But when you have a situation where you're an athlete, where you're on the road as a Major League Baseball player 6 months out of the year, and she's making movies back to back, flying around the world, and y'all barely seeing each other. And maybe she was looking at you as some sense of security, and you were looking at her because you had the baddest chick on your arm at the time. So I totally get that. And he was like, you know what, maybe if I had a little therapy, that would have helped me in the long run. So I'm glad that he, you know, as someone who's a lot older, that he knows better and stuff. And look, at that time, I sincerely doubt that Halle Berry was thinking about having kids, because she was relatively young at that time. Her career was blowing up. And then when she got secure enough in her career is when she had kids. Now, years later, when she had kids with them two different baby daddies, you know, with Gabriel Aubry and Olivier Martinez, yeah, we know the situation that happened with her and being in that relationship with those men, and they were a messy. However, it seems like her kids came out pretty good for what we've seen, except I've heard like the stories that Maceo is having issues or whatever, and hopefully she's got things working out with him, and hopefully she's worked it out with her parent, you know, with the baby fathers. But the good thing out of it, look, she got her good man Savannah finally. She got Van Hunt, who's out here, you know, loving up on her and showing her the love and support that she definitely needs. But child, but look, I seem to forget about this. I wonder if they mentioned this in the story, because so they got married in 1993 and then they separated in 96 and divorce became finalized in 97. But and he said that he and Barry didn't receive a lot of negative attention until he decided to leave her in 1996. And then she sought a restraining order against him, citing fear for her personal safety and well-being. The former baseball star publicly denied the allegations at the time, saying he posed no threat to Halle. Now, the Academy Award winner then went on to marry, okay, so he was her first husband, and then she went on to marry Eric Benet from 2001 to 2005, and then she married Olivier Martinez from 2013 and 2016. She's currently dating singer Van Hunt, and I think she's kind of opposed getting married right now. And I think she said, if I'm not mistaken, I think she did say it's probably because, you know, past situations. And I think that maybe that works with some people. It's like being in a committed relationship works so much better because maybe there is so many restraints or so many rules that come with the traditional ideology of what marriage represents. So we get married, everybody says it has to be like this and this and this and this, and then it's like, no, maybe in the old days it had to be like that, but marriage is what you make it. Marriage is whatever it is that you feel like it needs to be, that works for you in your situation. It has nothing to do with what other people are saying that you need to have in your own stuff. It's like whatever works for you works for you, and clearly what's working with her and Van works. But if they decide to get married, I hope it works out for them and that it doesn't end up in a situation where it's like y'all finally tied it now, and then a week later y'all getting a divorce because y'all put so many preconceived notions of what marriage is into the marriage instead of just, okay, we just do what we've been doing with our relationship. The only difference with marriage is what comes with it, all that entails and all that, you know, it's just a piece of paper. But the same thing that we've been doing as we've been dating and being in a relationship, apply that to the marriage. And then it'll work and keep working. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story regarding what Dave Justice had to say about his relationship back in the day with Halle Berry, saying that, yeah, she didn't seem motherly at the time. She didn't cook. She didn't clean. Well, who had time when you out here making a bunch of movies and you one of the most sought after, you know, Black actresses in Hollywood? So, or as they would look at it as racially ambiguous, but she identified as Black, even though Hollywood was seeing her as like racially ambiguous. They could have her play all these different roles and things. Excuse me. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. All right, now let's see what everybody, well, one comment. They said, these men are showing that they want their mother and not someone to make a marriage. Yeah, I'm like, I don't want to fuck your mother. I mean, that's a little weird. is that I guess you want the same ideology as your mother. But yeah, if you're sitting in your head thinking he's a man of a certain age, like you're pushing 60. So yeah, in your mind, the women did stay at home in those days. They stayed at home, they cooked, they cleaned, they didn't really work. The man had to go and bring home the bacon. The times they have changed. Now the women are the moguls and the CEOs. Now the women are the ones bringing home the bacon and the men are staying at home taking care of the family. And there's nothing wrong with men out there that want to do that. So I hate, when they make it like you're less than a man if you want to be the one to go out there and stay at home and take care of the kids while the wife goes and be sort of like the alpha female. Like if there's a woman out there that want to do that, okay, do what you need to do. Said many teen marriages ended in divorce because of being forced. Because families didn't like out of wedlock babies. I mean, there was all of that too. This whole pressure of, if you have a kid out of wedlock, no, y'all getting married. And so it's like, look, I didn't wear a condom. She got pregnant, but who said I got to marry the person? And then y'all sit there resenting each other for decades and unhappy because that's the traditional thing to do. So wrap it up, heteros. All right, y'all. So we got about 4 more topics left till we are at the end of the show. So before we get to those final 4, the core 4, if you could please do me a solid and hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. And also be sure to smash the notification bell so that way you know when we go live with a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered. I will be putting in timestamps at the end of the live stream, so those who just want to come in and just check out the topics we have at hand instead of having to sit through all the banner we do in between the topics, you could do so by getting down into the description and click on said topics at hand. Please and thank you. Now, without further ado, let's talk about Kim Coles, who has a show with Erica Alexander called Reliving Single and was a podcast. And she was getting real about the pressures of Hollywood. So yeah, when she was talking on the podcast, she revealed that she was once threatened by executives that they will incorporate fat jokes into the show if she didn't keep her weight in check. Now, I do have that clip, courtesy of the TikTok. We're going to go and play that clip, and then we're going to come back. So
I would get a call every beginning of every season to my manager saying, Kim Coles has to lose some weight. She has to lose some weight. She has to lose some weight. And I remember having this conversation with some guy friends, and they go, there's no man in America that would kick any one of y'all out of bed, which is a really, really crude way to say it. But I think what was beautiful about us is there were 4 completely different body types. And we looked like women that everybody knew in our community, but there's a expectation by these, suits in an office somewhere of what they think sexy is. And so I had a really hard time as I was gaining weight and feeling as if everybody was staring. And there was this moment where Latifah was like, no, we're not going to do this. And then it wasn't brought up anymore. And I told, you won't remember this, but I told you that they threatened me and said, if you keep gaining weight, we're going to have to start writing fat jokes. And you said, I won't read those jokes.
Who said that to you?
Yeah, executive said it to my manager. We have to include it. She wouldn't be gaining all this weight and her friends wouldn't say anything. And we're going to have to, that was the threat, lose some weight or we're going to have to start writing fat jokes.
I made a mistake and cut that off. And yeah, hold on. So she said, so basically what they were saying is like, yeah, she said she was going to read the jokes and and I do agree with that. It's like, yeah, okay. Now speaking in black speak, the fact of the matter is like, yeah, when you look at a lot of those women on the show, first of all, Kim Coles wasn't even fat when she was on Living Single. So what the hell were they talking about? But I guess they expected everybody to be Jennifer Aniston and Courtney Cox skinny. Like you had to be Ally McBeal's, because those were the shows that was on at the time. So you had to be Ally McBeal's skinny. If you're a woman who has curves and ass and stuff, all the stuff that all you white women are buying in, at your local plastic surgeon, this seems to be a thing that y'all that is an expectation that now y'all out here buying your bodies rather than embracing the fact that real women have curves. So when you have these situations of the overall pressure of wanting to maintain your figure and lose weight, Because I was like, Kim Coles looked fine. There was no reason why she had to be out here and this pressure on her. And then y'all talking about y'all want to incorporate fat jokes and stuff on there. And so, yeah. So then Alexander said she didn't recall because I went and accidentally cut it off. And they said, but Coles claimed that the comments came from an exec to the manager reasoning she wouldn't be gaining all this weight and her friends wouldn't say anything. And said that was the threat. Lose some weight or we're going to start writing fat jokes. And I thought and I brought it to you. You said I won't read those jokes. Alexander said that of the castmates, no one would do that to any of them. She continued, see, you have to have willing collaborators. But the sad part is it got in our mind because I do remember that you went on a very concerted effort throughout the series to keep the image that they wanted. So it's like, yeah, while you're saying like, yeah, I will fight and I will prevent all of that other stuff. Yeah, that seeps in your consciousness because when you say something disrespectful in that way, and you can't say that that's not going to hurt because it will. Like if somebody was like, oh, yo, you need to, you about a biscuit away or all those other stuff. Yeah, that gets in your subconscious and then you start feeling away. And then that's when eating disorders start and things of that nature. I mean, it's not just women that have to deal with this. A lot of us homosexuals got to deal with the pressures of trying to maintain our figures and stuff too, in order to, I guess, to get wanted glances or whatever the case is. Or with me, I be wanting to wear my little, my short shorts and things when I'm out in the summertime. So I got to maintain my. So, but the good thing about New York is that a lot of people out here don't really care about, your body and all that stuff. There's not a lot of pressure like it was out in LA. Like when I was out in LA, I definitely had to be on it. I was going on walks and hikes and things. If I couldn't get to a gym, it was like this overall pressure to want to maintain your figure because you couldn't gain weight when you're out in LA. In New York, there might be a little bit of pressure, but for the most part, it's a series of body type. And there's people out here with all kinds of rolls, stomachs hanging out, wearing all kinds of outfits, and they don't give a good goddamn how they look. So there's that. But it's sad to hear when you hear people that, and I don't even think it was even back then. I think it still resonates today, the overall pressures that a lot of women deal with. Just like when y'all was going in on Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo for losing too much damn weight when they did the Wicked movie. And we haven't seen them in a while since. So I'm sure when they out here promote Wicked for good, the body shaming is going to start up yet again. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story regarding what Kim Coles had to say regarding the pressure she had to face with maintaining a certain body type when she was filming Living Single? Now she does IDGAF. But back then, yeah, there was an overall pressure on women to maintain a certain figure on TV. And it's like, we should be out here embracing all body types because, yes, particularly in the Black community, we're used to embracing women with all body types. White people, y'all not used to that, but Black folks, we used to seeing all of that and supporting it because when you look at the women of Living Single, they represent our cousins, our aunts, our sisters, people that's within our community. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Fat jokes was such a 90s and first decade of the 21st century. It was a standard, but I'm supposed to be Courtney Cox and Brad Pitt were fat. When right, Brad Pitt was a former overweight. Was he? Because I remember seeing old stuff of him and he didn't look fat to me. Not miss those hoochie daddies. Cynthia is being dubbed a demon because of her playing. Okay, whatever. Again, we did a topic on the show about Adam Lambert defending Cynthia Erivo. Doing Jesus Christ Superstar. They'll be all right because they mad because they had a Black lesbian playing Jesus. But like I said, if y'all could cosplay Jesus being a white man, then y'all should have no problem with Jesus being played by a Black queer woman. And that's all I'll say on that. But speaking of homosexuals in the queer community, let's get into some Grindr news because apparently Grindr has a new hub that they've added over on their social media where I guess you can watch all kinds of interesting things. And I'm like, what is going on with Grindr? I mean, I haven't really been using Grindr, but yeah, they got some type of new programming and stuff going on over there. So they launched a new hub called Grindr Presents, which will exist inside the existing Grindr app to house the brand's full uncensored catalog of original videos, music drops, and editorial pieces. Now, shout out to Pink News for this too. They said the new platform Grindr Presents will exist inside the existing Grindr app and will host the brand's original content such as Who's the A-Hole series, behind the scenes videos, and musicians like Troye Sivan and more content. Saying no more switching platforms. Grindr is bringing its content right to you directly in the app. Catch up on blogs, playlists, and uncensored Who's the A-Hole episodes. That ain't what they're saying, but I'm sure you can read it in the photo that I have up top. All while you scroll the grid for your next hookup. Well, who can scroll through the hookups over there on Grindr when every 2 seconds they got a damn ad that pops up? Because they want you to pay for it. So they said, whereas previously its content had been hosted on other platforms like IG and YouTube, Grindr Presents will be found inside the actual Grindr app so users can consume content while looking for a match. Now, in a world where queer voices are increasingly censored and marginalized across platforms, Grindr has created an unapologetically safe space for where the community can be themselves, be heard, and be fearless without fear of suppression. This is what the brand wrote in a statement. Now, I do have a little something over on the Instagram where I saw that there was a video. So we'll play that and we'll come back and talk.
I'm ready to talk about sex.
Waiting for you. In a bottom competitor. The premier location for cruising. New Orleans is such a special place. Hotel sex. Locker room fantasies. Have you seen the substance?
Why? Because of the way I look.
Big dick music.
It's not the size, it's how you use it.
Am I the hole?
It's so gay. It's like a pride parade every single day.
Okay, well, I was like, I was about to say, where the people of color? I've seen a couple of them pop up in there, but do they have shows? Inquiring minds want to know. So, then they also went on so they said Grindr's move to bring uncensored content to its app comes as the UK Online Safety Act has meant that websites hosting adult content in the UK have been forced to implement age verification checks, leading to accusations of censorship. Well, there should be age verification checks, I would think, because we don't need child porn type situations. You don't want underage kids being on social media doing stuff. Like, there was a recent story I heard about a politician, I believe in Texas, who was recently caught out there and in trouble. I think he was arrested for sending unsolicited photos to a 12-year-old girl. So I do think that there needs to be some age restrictions and things of that nature on social media, or age verifications, because kids lie. I mean, I know when I was growing up and this was pre-internet, and I was out there trying to get me some sweet loving, and I was horny out of my damn mind trying to get laid. There was always things I was doing where I was pursuing, and I'm not saying that's right because the adults should have known better. But me, when I'm young and my frontal lobe hasn't fully developed, I was running out there trying to get with older people, and so that way, because in my mind, I felt like me sleeping with older people, they knew more, they were more experienced, I could learn some things. So I was doing those things. So it was like, yeah, I like the fact that they got a little age restriction thing, and if there is some truth to it, that there is some censorship stuff going on, then that needs to be proven. But they said the act means that websites that fail to implement a form of ID checks, such as facial recognition, credit and debit card checks, or other forms of ID, could face hefty. Well, first of all, I don't like the fact that I gotta add my debit and credit card to Grindr. It's like, I don't need y'all putting on. So what? You gonna try? Does that mean like you trying to charge me? Because that's why we're getting on damn ads on it, because they want us to pay to get laid. Isn't that prostitution? It's like, I'm not paying for no app. So now content must be restricted for under 18 includes pornography and content that encourages or promotes self-harm, eating disorders, or taking your own life. They ain't the word they use the S word. However, critics of the act have claimed LGBTQ plus content has been routinely censored since the new legislation was brought in. And I hope that if y'all gonna do it to the gays, y'all doing it over there on Tinder and all that other stuff too, which I didn't even know that the guy, what's his name? The one that played the little creature, the monster that's gay in real life over on Wednesday. He's married for 3 years, and apparently his husband and him met on Tinder. Hold on, let me see if I can remember what his name is. And Bingo was his name, though. Bingo. It is Hunter Dewin. That's his name. He's on Wednesday. So I didn't know he was married for like 3 years. And they said his husband is on child, don't tell me that Bernie Sanders is about to run for president. I'm gonna check that out later because it was like, okay, so yeah, so Grindr, congratulations to y'all. They also said, yeah, that there's some stuff, whatever's going on in UK, I hope y'all work it out. I don't know. We still got to keep on guard in the US because I'm sure there's probably a lot of queer discrimination that's gonna be happening under this current administration. Also, I should point out that there's a petition to repeal the act shortly after it went into effect and has now gathered over 500,000 signatures. So they're talking about, yeah, there's the LGBTQ plus support websites, forums, educational resources, and community spaces are being blocked or geo-blocked in the UK. So they're dealing with a lot of queer discrimination out there. Hopefully that doesn't spill over here. Probably is already, but yeah, that sounds like an interesting thing that they got going on over there in the world of Grindr, but I don't know. None of the programming, honestly, tickles my fancy. But if you like it, I love it. So I ask all of you, what do you guys think of this story regarding Grindr just launching a brand new hub for unapologetic queer content? So whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. It's there and it's on the free. Oh, okay, so you say it's on the free version. Oh, congratulations to Kayla says she's engaged to be married. Funny enough, I used to think she was a lesbian, but then she said that guy she was living with was her man. I was like, oh, okay. Let me stop stereotyping New Yorkers and thinking everybody that got a little aggression up in their situation is a lesbian. Tyler Perry is sending people. Tyler Perry need to go play in traffic. So another queen out here trying to be the black Blake Lively, or I'm screaming. Not Grindr admitting it's a hookup. I mean, it always was, right? You know, they try to, as you say, not, you know, even though they want to try to act like they're not, but it's like, now you're trying to be the black Blake Lively, aka Subpoena Serena. It's like, ma'am, go sit your ass down somewhere. First of all, shout out to Perez Hilton, because the names that he was coming up with about her on social media, and you want to know something, I had no idea that there was so many people when I clipped that topic about Perez and Blake Lively, the clip that I posted, the segment blew up on YouTube and other places. But also, I had no idea a lot of people were going to be pro Perez in a lot of this. But I think y'all all doing that despite Blake, because nobody likes her. But but a lot of people was pro Perez in the comments, which is weird because there be so many people that be hating on him on social media. And I gotta give it up to him. The one thing about him that I live for is he come up with some shady names for her. He calls her the zero-time winning Emmy Award actress, Fake Lively, Pinocchio, Blake Not So Lively, the Plantation Princess, Plantation Khaleesi. He also called her Ku Klux Khaleesi, which was even more funny. Aspiring film editor, Beanie Aficionado, and that's just to name a few. And then, like I was saying, Subpoena Serena. I'm like, that is like, well, Serena was her name on Gossip Girl. But I was like, look, y'all are hilarious with these names. I don't know, he probably feels like there's some sort of bias because he and Blake, well, no, he and Justin Baldoni share an attorney. So with him going in and letting have, that's Perez being Perez, but how he does with his shady blogging. That doesn't necessarily mean that Justin Baldoni has been feeding her information or feeding him information. Did he? He gave her the name? I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, it's called Goop. But I wouldn't be surprised if he called it that and she was like, I'm going to take the name and run with it. Kind of like with Chris Martin and that whole thing about the cheating scandal that went on with the Jumbotron, how they hired her to be the spokesperson or whatever, to do a little spokesperson video at the company. So the first time she's trolled someone. But anyway. All right, child. Now, hold on, because I was like, let me close out some of these top things. I had a couple of windows open. All right, so let me wait. Hold on, because I got this still open. All right, now I'm well aware of what's going on because I'm just like forgetting to close things. And let's move on and let's talk about Billy Porter, who got like Shantae. Billy Porter got himself a man. I don't know if he's at home, but he got a man. I got a man. I don't know that. Say, I got a man. I ain't trying to hear that. See, remember that song? But anyway, yeah. So Billy Porter got a man, like Shantae. And I was gagging when I heard it was like, look, it's been 2 years. So Miss Porter done moved on and gone to the next thing. So 2 years after filing for divorce from his husband Adam Smith, because I think it was like in June of 2023 when they split. It looks like Billy Porter snagged himself a new plaything. Now, pray tell had all the girls and the butch queens speculating after he posted a carousel of photos of himself and his new boo, mystery boo, on the gram with the following caption. Now, let me pull that up so y'all can see what the new boo thing looked like. So he said, photo dump, missing this beautiful human who has forever changed me for the better. Thank you, universe, for this exquisite gift. Well, look, I know some of y'all probably out here happy it ain't a white man, but he looks racially ambiguous. He cute. So that's him. He might be Latino. I need to know what the ethnicity is just because I'm nosy. And he cute. Why do I hear Craig in my head talking about his bottom row? See, Craig the writer, Stewart. That's what I'm talking about. Like, y'all gonna leave that man in his bottom row alone. But I was gonna say, at least he's not looking on this. I don't know what that is around his waist, but okay, Billy. She a man of a certain age, so she's not gonna be out here half naked like this boy over here. She gonna wear her little shawl. She gonna wear her, it looked like she draped herself with a green doily, like something you put on a table and put the lamp on top of, and had them in the bed. What y'all doing? Y'all hunching? No, they look like they got clothes on, so they being more conservative in the situation. So yeah, there was this picture, and look, all I gotta say on this, because there's not a lot of energy we could put into this whole story. But if anybody knows, I need y'all to fan out. If anybody know who this man is, that Billy Porter is allegedly messing with, then let me know in the comments. Because look, everybody deserves love. Everybody deserves to finally be happy in whatever situation that they're in. Billy had like a tumultuous divorce. I don't know what happened with them in that whole situation, but look, he found him some love in a hopeless place, even if it's temporary or it might be something serious. We don't know, but whoever this man is, I don't know who he is, but if it's snowing outside tonight, he's going on my tires. Y'all know that line from Too Long Fu. So anyway, I say all this to say, all jokes aside, what do you guys think of this story regarding that? It looked like Billy Porter done got himself a new boo thing. We happy for her over here. I ain't trying to be a little too messy now. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. He said, yeah, I saw the age restriction on Boyfriend's TV. Isn't that what y'all be seeing the porn and stuff? Trying to watch a Cannon and Shabazz video. Oh, you messy. He's like, I was trying to watch some adult cinematography, and they wanted me to put an age restriction on it. But look, as long as you're not asking for my damn credit card information or something, I don't like when y'all be getting a little too nosy in the situation. I was like, I'm not providing all of that for y'all over there. Y'all might be trying to use my stuff and then hack into my bank accounts and start stealing my money. That's how crazy I be thinking. Like very conspiracy theory with this situation. Damn, I forgot. I should have read. Oh yeah, how I found out about the relationship or whatever with Billy Porter. My friend Victor Yates posted a picture. Posted a picture on his thing. I also see T.S. Madison is live. Shout out to her. I just have a licensed real estate person just follow me on the Twitter, probably because I was talking about, the gossip and things. But anyway, let's move on, y'all. Not now I gotta go watch Tu Wong Fu. Y'all know that line. I don't think I didn't mention. I said, y'all know where that line come from. You know exactly what it was. But anyway, we said it already began in Arizona. Take a selfie and send ID. I don't trust it. Well, that's what you got to do over there. That's what you. I'm like, should I tell my business? Well, that's what you got to do over there on Chatterbait. You got to send your ID and picture and all that other stuff. Don't ask how I know. But anyway, let's move on to our final topic. And let's talk about drag entertainer Jasmine Jimenez International, who has passed away at the age of 46. So friends, family, and fans shared the news via social media that celebrated entertainer Jasmine Jimenez, known as Jasmine International, died on August 8th, surrounded by a loved one. She was 46. Now, there was a couple of people that I'm friends with on social media. I found this out a couple of days ago because I had seen a lot of friends of mine who were posting a lot of well wishes, RIPs. There was even Octavio Extravaganza. There was this who was fine as hell, who I used to have a crush on back in the day, went and posted a picture of them and did like a long post or whatever in regards of Miss Jasmine passing away. So there was a lot of condolences and stuff that was going on. So let's get into the story. Shout out to Out for putting the story together, by the way. So over the years, Jimenez competed in pageants such as Miss Flamingo, Miss Royal Pride of Nations, Southern Charm, All-American Goddess, Miss Mundo International USA, and the prestigious Miss Continental, which she actually competed alongside Sasha Colby. And we'll get to her condolences in a second. Meanwhile, she also built a long-lasting career as a drag entertainer, crossing paths and forging friendships with drag race stars such as Alexis Mateo, Naysha Lopez, Roxy Andrews, Carmen Carrera, Miss Vanjie, Nina Flowers, and Detox, to name a few. And how I became aware of Jasmine International, because I told you I was up in the clubs for a long time. Mother has lived. I used to see Jasmine at Escuelita. Like, that was one of the clubs, the very first club I actually went to when I first started coming up in the scene in New York City, because that was the only club that I was aware of that celebrated, you know, urban queer people. And that was like smack dab in the middle of Midtown Manhattan, not too far from like 42nd Street, Times Square. So in 2018, she shared a photo of herself and Alexis Mateo posing alongside Christina Aguilera while the singer was on the road with the Liberation Tour. Now, in June of 2016, Jimenez performed at Pulse nightclub in Orlando just hours before the venue was overtaken by a gunman who pow-powed and unalived 49 people, saying, quote, "I was going to take my bags to the car and I was going to come back and spend a couple of minutes, 20, 30 minutes, Jimenez told MSNBC in an interview as reported by Out's sister publication, The Advocate. As soon as we get the bag and we walk to the bar again, I told them we'll be right back, and I just walked out. I didn't even put my hand to the door when I heard the first 6 shots, and that's when I ran. By the time I threw all my stuff in the car and Lewis throws his stuff in the car, the second round came out, and then I looked back, I realized that it was a really bad situation." So that situation happened. It definitely saved her life in regards of, you know, all the craziness that was going on in there. So shout out to the universe for being like, sis, this is not your time. Like, we gotta keep you up in here. So yeah, this is and it's funny how the minute I saw this picture from Tens magazine, I knew exactly it was Escuelita, because whenever the girls was gonna come out and perform, everybody sat on the floor like we was all kids in school. And the queens would come out and perform, and they would get their coins. And this is like the first time when I would see trans girls like this, I didn't know what I was looking at, but I just knew I was looking at beautiful Black women and beautiful Latino women who had boobs and everything. And it was just like, I had never realized that people could, like, men could transition into a different gender and just be so glamorous and so beautiful. So that was my first taste of what it was to be trans, or to see a trans person, was in nightlife. And I wasn't even bothered by it. I was just intrigued. So Jimenez excelled in many different mediums as a performer, leaving an indelible mark on the worlds of pageantry, ballroom, and nightlife, Ten magazine writes. She also cultivated a sense of community everywhere she went, becoming a staple in LGBTQ+ spaces across the country, from the La Escuelita nightclub in New York City to the Gay Board District in the greater Tampa Bay area. Now, in a video shared by at FQ Lookbook on Instagram, Jimenez International is seen performing at a ballroom function. Sasha Colby, crowned winner of Miss Continental and the legendary champion of Drag Race Season 15, commented under her post with several heart emojis. The @queer_happen_here Instagram page noted that Jimenez began performing in the late 90s and went on to headline shows around the world, including in Mexico, Thailand, Japan, and the Dominican Republic. The page added that Jimenez performed at numerous major venues, including many of the clubs in New York I've been to, such as, and y'all took me back when I saw these names, Crash, which I used to live for going when I would go out to Astoria. El Morocco, child, I done slept with somebody, man. Yeah, I'm gonna tell y'all the tea. There was one time I went to El Morocco, and afterwards, me and a couple of my friends, we went to this Dominican restaurant, ordered me some mofongo and a bunch of other stuff. And yeah, I'm gonna tell y'all specifically. And then it was like I went to use the bathroom. This guy that was with us at the club came into the bathroom, and all of a sudden he pushed up on me. We started making out. I'm like, damn, your man outside, but he didn't give a fuck. And I was like drunk, so I didn't stop it. Look at me being a home wrecker. I was like Alicia Keys before Alicia Keys was Alicia Keys. So yeah, I'm telling my business, but that was me back in the day. I'm saved now. So where was I? Oh, so there's El Morocco, then it was Splash. I already told y'all about the many of I've told about many of my Splash experiences. Copacabana and Club Evolution. Club Evolution, that was in Astoria. I think they rejudged it up. The last time I went to Club Evolution, it's in Jackson Heights, actually. When I went to Club Evolution was like last year, because I didn't go to Queens Pride this year. But yeah, I went last year. Child was dead in there. But yeah, Club Revolution was cute. And then it said the official Instagram accounts of Tampa Pride and the Gay Board District Coalition Incorporated also mourned Jimenez's passing, remembering her as a beacon of light in our community and adding that her impact will forever be cherished and remembered. So, we have a couple of people that came out and said some things. Esme Russell, Jimenez's mother, shared the following statement with the Florida-based LGBTQ+ publication Watermark Out News. And here's what she said. Hold on, because I'm like, why is it not coming up? I thought it was like showing. Now it is. Okay, so then she said, Jasmine was an exceptional human who was not only beautiful and talented, she was kind, generous, and compassionate. I was proud to be her drag mom. I will miss her very much. God always seems to take the good ones. Who you telling? Now, Drag Race star Alexis Mateo went on to say the following, and was like, it takes someone special to be your friend and someone amazing to become your family. Jasmine Jimenez, Jasmine International, thank you for bringing joy to my life and to remind me that friendships is as pure as your heart. Rest in peace, my little angel. I will always love you. And then we have Pose actress, or who I knew her back in the day as Tyra Allure, back in her club days, but she's Tyra A. Ross Jackson, and along with Chanel Lopez, said the following. And they said, rest well, beautiful sister, a time was had, heart emojis, at Chanel_J_Lopez, she will be with dad. And then we had a long post from Naysha Lopez, who wound up saying the following. Now she said, I don't even know where to begin. Your beauty and kindness were otherworldly. Your skin was like butter. Your glow unmatched. I'll never forget the year I wanted to compete for Miss Continental, but didn't have the prelim package. You just had finished competing at nationals and made the top 5, and without hesitation, you packed up your entire package, put it in a box, and mailed it to me with a simple, Mary, there you go. Now go and compete. She said, you were the perfect balance of New York grit and Puerto Rican fire. The day I met you, I was in absolute awe. Your dance moves, your femininity, your body, it was all unbelievable. You were everything I wanted to be. You introduced me to Ruffle Mint liquor and taught me how to drink, Mary. And we would spend hours on the phone dreaming about becoming Miss Continental. That's why when I finally won, your joy for me was so pure, so genuine, like a true sister. I'm in disbelief that you are gone. My heart aches for your family and your chosen family who now have to carry this loss. And even though life happened and we didn't see each other as often, I hope you always knew the inspiration and impact you had on me and my drag. You will forever be a goddess to me. Love you forever, Mary. It was like, yeah, you better use that Mary line. And you know, that was a thing back in the day when we used to call people. I remember one time when I used to watch when I used to go to the Harmonica Sunbeam show, there was this one little queen that would come up in there and she was known as Mary. And Miss Thing would just be up in there pumping away and we would just be having the cackle of all cackles because Mary was no joke and we used to live for her. I wonder whatever happened to Mary. So, then we had gotten a post from Sasha Colby, said, RIP, Jasmine International was on her story, said, I met you when we both ran Miss Continental. You were always so kind, funny, and beautiful, inside and out. Then we have something from Vanessa Vanjie, who went and posted a picture of them together, said, blessed to have had you in my life, rest in peace, my angel. And then we have something from Tasha Rolla, who wrote what she had to say in Spanish. She's a Puerto Rican activist and performer, Natasha Allure. She said, one of my mothers of the Puerto Rican trans community is gone, a showgirl, beauty queen, and goddess of the American ballroom scene. Rest in peace, Jasmine International. And said, I still remember the first time I saw her perform at a show in Toxic. I had never been in the presence of someone with so much grace and stage presence. Every interaction was always so warm, a true mother. So, and then designer Jeffrey Kelly wrote, RIP to this angel, Jasmine Jimenez. We love you and you will be missed. And then the Dolls and Divas archive channel on YouTube also includes performances from Jimenez in New York City, where she would perform around, at Crash, and she performed Spanish Guitar by Tony Braxton. I probably was there and saw that performance that night. You know, the 90s and the 2000s was pretty much a big blur for me in regards of like the nightlife scene and all the parties and stuff that was going on. So I couldn't tell you if I was somewhere or not. But I mean, I could tell you if I was at a certain club, but I couldn't tell you what transpired in those times. All I know is a time was had. The boys were boying, and the girls, the trans girls, were definitely giving me my life with the, performances. And I don't know, because I don't understand where all this transphobia and stuff has been coming from. But growing up, I always had a deep love and mutual respect for the trans girls. Like, I would just be in awe of those women and always used to just live for seeing them, especially growing up. And I would see people like Tyra Allure, who would always be at Two Potato and Chi Chi's and going to those part next to the woods, because that's where all the black gays were, and the hangar and things of that nature, and just being a part of that world. It's just, a time was had back in the days. I don't want to put it at a point where I feel like RuPaul's Drag Race ruined drag. But look, the nightlife scene was lit back in the days in New York pre 9/11. It's kind of dry now. So I say, let's say, rest in peace, Jasmine Jimenez International. You definitely will be missed. 46 is way too young for you to be gone. I am definitely curious to find out like what happened to her, but unless people want to spill the tea and tell us what transpired with Miss Mamas, then that's when we'll know. Wait, hold on. I don't think did I read this? I don't think I read this one with Tens Magazine wrote. We'll go into that one and then we'll exit out. Hold on a second. So they posted, remembering Jasmine International. Jasmine Jimenez International, a visionary artist, fierce advocate, and beloved icon who left an indelible mark on the world's pageantry, ballroom, and nightlife. Now, as a member of the legendary House of Infinity, she became known for her breathtaking carta and mentorship to younger members. Her critiques were always insightful and delivered with love, and her performances were legendary. For years, she was a fixture in Escuelita nightclub in New York City, a space that became a second home for her and many others, myself included. It was there that she cultivated a diverse community, serving as a hostess, performer, and confidant. I'm really sure that I probably have encountered Jasmine many a times back in the day. Her presence lit up the room, and she had a gift for making everyone feel seen and valued. Escuelita was Jasmine's kingdom, and we were all her loyal subjects, shared Louis G., former Esquilita show director. She contributed to creating a space where you could be your authentic self without fear or judgment. She was a survivor and a pillar of our community. Now, Jasmine's life, while filled with immense joy and triumph, was also marked by a moment of unimaginable tragedy. She was a survivor of the Pulse nightclub massacre in 2016. Her experience that profoundly shaped her. Now, in the wake of the tragedy, she became an even more vocal and passionate advocate for gun control and LGBTQ rights. So, shout out to Jasmine. She will definitely be missed. And I ask all of you, what do you guys think of this story? You know, shout out to her and all that good stuff. It's unfortunate we had lost another good one. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Who said, Bill de Blasio read Andrew Cuomo saying he hates rent bill freeze. He does. I mean, and there's not going to be any help. Like, if he becomes mayor, things are going to get worse here. He's not He's not here for the community. He's not here for rent stabilization. Like, and this is someone, like I said, who's so out of touch. He thinks making $200,000 a year is rich. That's not rich. I was a kid in the 90s. I was 15 when 2000. I think all this transphobia is coming from the South because it doesn't exist in Arizona. The Bible Belt as usual, of course. And meanwhile, they the ones out here doing the most atrocities to people. AZ was anti-gay, but I don't see the outrage. That to me is because of a shift in ideology. I know more liberals and leftists that are very younger than me, but conservatives are like Gen X and beyond, but we are outnumbering them. And that's what they're afraid of. A lot of yeah, you know what? A lot of the younger generation that's coming in, they're pushing out all that bigotry. You'll always have bigotry and hatred within certain groups, but I do feel like the old guard is dying out. Those boomers and all those that spread all that hatred and everything, they're about to be non-existent. So it is what it is, Chair. All right, so now I want to say that we are finally at the end of today's show. I want to thank you all for tuning in to the latest episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered, or, you know, the weekend of with Chris Avalon, whatever you want to call it, Chris Avalon Unfiltered, but it's the weekend edition. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you all for, you know, hit that like button, click that subscribe button, smash the notification bell, all that good stuff. Thank you for chiming and kikiing with me in the comments. I won't be on tomorrow because I'm going to be working Miss Perry's concert, and that's going to be an early one. Like, my call time is 5:30. So I do want to plan on, I got to get in a workout and everything before I head out there and get my mind and everything right, because that is going to be an early show with her. So I'll definitely let you guys know how the show is when I come back on Tuesday with a brand new episode. It is going to be a crazy week because I think only next week I'm going to be able to only give y'all 2 shows. Hence why I gave y'all the weekend edition. And so Tuesday and Thursday is the only time I'm actually going to be free to give y'all shows this coming week, because I told you August is crazy busy. So love you all for watching. Thank you all for your support and all that good stuff. And until next time, ciao, darlings.